Alright guys, I'm going to give this another second or so to get everyone situated. We have got so much to unpack tonight. I cannot believe the amount of shit that has just kind of exploded today. I'm going to make sure I've got Kilted Cajun situated here to get him on the stream. I'm not sure if he's actually still awake or not. I think he saw my message, so hopefully he's going to be jumping in here in a second. Let me be switching over to a different screen. Hey Tekla, oh my god dude, today so much. There is so freaking much, man. There's so much to go over. It's just insane. Let me kill my music because I know if I mess with the audio on here, it's gonna screw up your ability to hear Cajun if he is in the chat here. So let me go ahead and turn this back up. We will switch screens and see what happens. I do believe he is with us. Oh my god, I forgot to turn my camera on. Holy crap, rookie mistake. There we go. Ooh. God, it's time for a trim. Wow. Wow. Okay. I think we got Kilted Cajun. I made one mistake. Real quick, though, before I bring him in, I'm going to pop up his little, well, I'll just move him into the next one. Oh, okay, so Tekla, yes, I'm not here. This is not a defense of Daniel Vavra's stream. I want to make sure that everyone's aware of that. Not news. No. It's much juicier than that. There will be a lot of going over some of the stuff that's been going on in the last couple days, but it's the fallout around the rest of it that is absolutely it's pretty fantastic. Not gonna lie. Which one is this? Is this my right? I think this is the right one. Yep, I've got him ready to go. Let's bring him in. Hello, good sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I've been here the whole time. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Look at
that. We did it. Able to do it nice and bright and early this time.
I felt so bad the last time. I have no, I cannot believe that I didn't realize that I just needed to bring you on the stream before we could hear you.
Yes. And the sad thing is I need to use the bathroom. Be right back.
Hey, you're fine. You're fine. Hey, you know what? I'm getting that age. Trust me, I get it. Just move him into the next one. So sloppy seconds, just how he likes it. I'm not going to go there. You're not here either, Burner. This is pre-recorded. Burner over on the Twatter machine. Good to have you over there, dude. I'm sure at some point you'll move over to YouTube because YouTube is superior. And I say that as somebody who respects the fact that Twitter is a little less censorious than it used to be, although I used the word cis in the context of saying cis actually is a slur. I just don't care. And Twitter decided to flag my post as violation of Twitter policy, hateful speech. I don't know. Me saying that the word cis, as in cisgender, is a slur, somehow triggered the system. Hey, Sam Jackson, Nightcore, how's it going? They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Oh my god, you know it, buddy. You absolutely know it. Hang on a second.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
It never fails. I don't know if it's because of my age or just bad luck. I think it's just bad luck for me because when I try to call someone or someone calls me, that's when I have to cough. That's when I have to sneeze. Or when I'm about to start my own stream, it's like...
That is called human nature. That is just the way that we are wired.
It's Murphy's Law.
It is. I am sharing my screen capture so you can see what we're going to be talking about. Hopefully you can see that now.
I can see.
Awesome. All right, so... I know you've had thoughts, and I've had thoughts, and I wanted to get Mr. Hardcore Mode on here today because I really wanted a third opinion of somebody who has played a lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I know he has.
I haven't played any of it.
But
then I also haven't played Baldur's Gate 3.
I never played Baldur's Gate 3 either. That's one that's on my backlog. I'm going to pick it up eventually and play it.
I played 1 and 2 and Neverwinter Nights and Icewind Dale and the old, 3DS Metric games. Like, again, I'm old.
Hey, trust me, I can sympathize. I still look back and say, I remember when we had an Atari when I was a kid, and I remember, fondly playing our original Nintendo before I could even walk practically. So I get it.
But Expedition 33, I'm seeing entirely too many great things about that. I'm gonna have to dive into it this weekend.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not all hype. It is 100% real.
Yeah.
I have played about 5 or 6 hours of it, And so I was streaming it last week, and I was really tired. I'm in this point in life right now where I've got so many things going on with like work, baseball with the kids, personal life on top of YouTube, everything else. I was streaming it. I'm like, okay, I know this game is supposed to be good. I just can't care about the story right now. Once you get further through the first hour or so, and the story is well crafted, I don't want to slight the game at all. But once you get through that prologue and you finally start, like, the combat kicks in, and because it's not just turn-based combat, it's turn-based combat with quick time events and
with
timing.
parry and dodge and stuff like that. So they'll be interesting. I'm just gonna, like I said, I mean, it's on Game Pass. I have no reason. I have no excuses.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Yes, Mr. Hardcore Mode is hardcore into Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's the thing. I played about 30 plus hours of the original game. I think I played about 10 of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 before I kind of just was like, I'll come back to this later. Once all the controversy dies down, once all the insanity and drama around this game dies down and people have stopped, basically tearing it apart, trying to figure out how much wokeness. It's kind of like that conversation about melanin, like what's the amount of drops in the bucket,
And then all of a sudden an interview came out and just dredged it right all back up.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So before we begin, here's the funniest shit.
On social media.
Here's the funniest shit. And this, I don't believe this was orchestrated per se. 90 hours on both KCD1 and 2. I mean, Hooky, I know that you are massive into those games. So let me back up. There's somebody who's a good friend of the channel. He's actually on our Discord, and I don't know if he's going to join us tonight or not, just in the chat. But he loves Kingdom Come Deliverance. As far as games go, the first one's like his favorite game of all time. And he has said, despite his issues with the second game, he still thinks it's a good, but like where the first one was a 10 out of 10, the writing, some of the characters, the gay sex option and all that kind of stuff, took the game down to like a 7 out of 10. So again, there was a lot of hype for the game, and I don't think it quite lived up to expectations for a lot of people. So, that being said, I was kind of saying I felt like this was almost orchestrated in a way, but if it was, it backfired, because leading up to the last 24 hours, leading up to the last 48 hours even, where I'm in my group chat on Twitter with all the unmentionables, including Grummz and a whole bunch of other people, and they're just running the victory laps going, see, this interview came out and we were right, and we're going to get apologies, and we're going to demand apologies from all these people. I've got some of those tweets brought up. We'll look at them in a minute. This was right off the back of these idiots trying to call Expedition 33 woke because there were some black NPCs in the game.
Oh no.
So for me, it was almost like, oh my God, these guys are starting to look like absolute jokes, and now they need a win, right? They need some sort of like massive win, because they are basically, I mean, we've got Doom coming out in 2 weeks. That game is going to smash records. It's going to do great. I'm going to play it on Game Pass because, like you said, why the hell not?
Oh, yeah. I'll be playing it too.
Chainsaw shield. I told my wife, if I could have $1 million or a chainsaw shield, I'm taking a chainsaw shield.
Skulls in the grinder and just
spraying bits and pieces of skulls. 100%.
Like me and my co-host Hoshi, we watched the second trailer again, the most recent one, just because I wanted to. And there's parts of it where I am curious. I want to know who, what, where, when, why, and how. The inhibitor thing on his chest that looks like a droid, and the helmet coming out. It's like, I want to know. Tell me. I have to see what happened. Why is this happening? And where's the story going? Yes, and I want to kill. I want to rip and tear.
Exactly.
So, well, what about this? Like, I don't care. Rip and tear and tell me the story. I want to know why this is happening.
And sure, I understand the argument that's like, okay, you can get so caught up in a game and you go, I know your motto, and you said you want to put it on a t-shirt, is that whole make games fun.
Make it fun first.
Make it fun first. And while there are some people who go, that's not good enough, it has to be actively anti-woke, I go, I
disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say, okay, it depends on what level of the ideological bubble you're kind of floating around on. And even that being said, I grew up in an era where, growing up in a church, going home, video games were not looked at as anti-woke. They were not looked at as wholesome. They were not looked at as conservative. They were just entertainment. Mm-hmm. So, share your thoughts on that one.
Okay, so here's how I see it. The reason why I say make it fun first. I do firmly believe that you can put a message into a video game if it's surrounded by an entertaining story that makes sense. I think it's Robert Meyer Burnett I heard him talk about this word. It is my new favorite word. It's verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude. Yes, it's a big old. I love words. What verisimilitude is the believability of the story and the world that's being presented to you. Like, we know Batman can't be Batman, but the way it's presented to us, you believe it. You believe it. It can happen. The rules in the universe are set before you, and you believe it happens. And that's the same thing when it comes to video games. You, with the writer, the creator, excuse me, of whatever world they are presenting, the video game, the mechanics and everything, you believe the things, it makes sense in the world presented to you. Now, when it comes to make it fun first versus woke, ideologically driven, checkbox, whatever, when these creators focus on the checkbox, when they focus on the preaching the message, they are focused. I see that as being focused so much on the character creator, the top surgery scars, the pronouns and everything. I consider these all red flags. And when they're focused so much on that, everything else is going to suffer, and the game's not going to be fun. The dialogue's not going to make sense. Like Tosh sitting down, I'm non-binary. That does not make sense in Dragon Age, no matter how much you try to spin it. And the game is going to suffer. Everything else is going to suffer for that. That's why I believe, put whatever message you want. If you make it fun first, you do a good job. And one thing I've brought up, I don't know if I brought it up last time, but I brought it up on my streams. Final Fantasy VII, the original, it's an environmentalist wet dream story. If you think about it, I mean, it genuinely is. But they made the game fun. It makes sense in the world. Corporations, cannibalizing the planet for money, and eco-terrorist group or so-called eco-terrorist group going after them to save the planet. I mean,
I'm thinking of the entire plot line of Avatar right now. If you think about the Avatar franchise, James Cameron, the bad guys are the humans with the machines trying to rape the planet of its resources, and the good guys are the indigenous aliens flying on the birds, with spears and bows and arrows. That is very much, you could argue that is an environmentalist, woke.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Message, but the movie is still one of the most massively successful movies of all time. Now you could say, well, that's because people are stupid. Fine, but people also just want entertainment at the end of the day. So,
we've had decades and decades and decades of entertainment that has an underlying message, and if the creator can do a good enough job, don't date your product.
Oh yeah,
too drastically. That's the number one problem. You can put a message in there, but if it makes sense in the world, like I said, and don't date it. Don't use terminology. Don't use current day terminology in a world that doesn't make sense.
I talked about this with Leon when he was on my stream a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, one of the things for me when Supernatural, that show was never great, but when that show took a massive shit, is when they brought back the alternate universe, characters that had died off, and they're talking to one of them, and he's like, oh, you guys have a celebrity clown, TV host for your president, and you thought we were living in hell world. It's like, oh, so now we have a Trump reference in 2017 or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, here we go. So again, you can't go back and watch that without knowing the context of the time that it was filmed in.
I think that's why the original trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy, is able to stand the test of time. You can see it as being a product of Vietnam or Korean conflict or whatever at the time, or based on the German army and everything with the imperial uniforms and everything, but they didn't use real world terminology or ideas and stuff like that. It didn't date itself. It's a story that can stand the test of time, based on forever, of course.
Right. Now, I'm reading Tekla's chat here. It says, let's just stop juxtaposing woke and Nazis. It's super worn out. It's really funny because I saw somebody explain that on Twitter today about Indiana Jones, because they always go back and say, well, Indiana Jones was political. He's punching Nazis. And they said, here's the thing. The movie was not anti-Nazi because Indiana Jones was not out there fighting Nazis. He was a teacher that would go on archaeological digs, and he'd end up encountering a random bad guy, and the bad guy for the movie, for the use of the film, was the Nazis.
Oh, it was a period piece.
Exactly.
It was because of the time period that it took place, and that's what was going on. That was the story behind it. It made sense for the time period that it was done, and what the motivations were for the Fuhrer.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they tried to, they weren't apolitical. They weren't like saying, well, the Nazis can be bad, but they can't be good. No, they were obviously the bad guys. They knew that they would be a popular bad guy in the films because, again, well, whole separate topic. Why is there more Nazi films or like anti-Nazi films than there are anti-communist films? That kind of goes back to Hollywood and their connections to communism.
Red Dawn?
Yeah.
Red Dawn?
Well, Red Dawn's. I would just say, go ahead.
With Indiana Jones, you got to think of it more as they weren't bad guys because they were Nazis. They were bad guys that happened to be.
There you go.
Nazis.
Yes.
We got to make that differentiation. I guess. And again, that goes to the quality of the writer.
Yeah, and it could have been any bad guy, but again, for the period that they were in, that made the most sense, so they used it to their advantage.
Yep.
Temple of Doom didn't have them, but I also didn't like Temple of Doom. I didn't like Temple of Doom as much, to be honest.
I enjoyed all of them. I kind of, Crystal Skull wasn't terrible, but
I never saw it. No. I can't speak to that.
I
stopped at
it. Horrible.
Look, I have very fond memories. The original Indiana Jones trilogy, because again, I'm in my almost 40s now. I'm 38 this year, 39 this year, and so I'm creeping up on remembering watching my movies on VHS tape as a kid. So I have very fond memories of watching, The Last Crusade on VHS and watching them right off into the sunset. And so for me, that's where Indiana Jones ended. I don't want to go any further beyond that.
No, that was a fantastic ending.
Oh, great movie. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some of this stuff. And I think if I am gauging things correctly, well, first off, why don't you tell me where kind of you stand on Daniel Vavra as a game director, as a Twitter user, as a person in general with this game?
I made a video on this, and I still think he I don't care what side you're on. Don't go attacking the customers, the potential customers.
Correct.
Just do it. I think
No, I think that's a very easy layup. I think I gave you an easy question because most people would agree you do not start off by attacking your customers, right?
Yeah, you don't. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Like, he went after Grummz, and it's like, I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious, but I still think he shouldn't have done it because you will end up, no matter what you do, whether you're going after one side or the other, you're going to alienate a percentage of your potential customers, and that's just a bad idea.
And I believe they did. I truly believe that they'd be over 3 million sales right now had they not done that.
Mm-hmm. If he'd just let social media spurg out and let the customers deal with the customers, and you just go, here's the game, let it speak for itself. But at the same time, the accusations that were being made about the game, it's
right. So that goes back to the character of the people attacking him. And I think that's okay. So honestly, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If Daniel Vavra wanted to go and sue the crap out of John Delarose, John Trent, everybody who said his game had underage sodomy, I would have no problem with him suing them for everything they're worth. And that is not an endorsement of him attacking his customers, of him necessarily putting things in the game that he felt he was pressured to, if that's what happened. Again, I think the choice to make Henry and Hans an option was a stupid option. I think, again, he says he did it to please the shippers. Never please the shippers. That is the worst thing you can do.
They're kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, for real. So, but like you said, exactly, when the allegations that were being levied against him by those people who were claiming to be ethical, I mean, let's just say it. It's John Delarose, John Trent, and Fandom Pulse as a whole.
Yeah, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. It's like, okay.
There's a caveat, unless thou art in the media. Necklace says, I do it 100%, all for it. Yeah. Exactly. Hook, he could literally sue them for those accusations. It is truly, it is actual libel. And
based on the terminology they used. And yeah, I lost some subs whenever I made that video, but
we all did.
What it is. It's like, you know what? I made it a policy that I'm going to be honest, regardless. I'm not anti-woke. I'm anti-stupid. Don't say stupid shit, and I won't make fun of you.
Yeah, and somebody else pointed out, I think it was Tekla previously, he said that, the one problem with your analogy about make it fun first is that woke people can't make entertainment that's actually entertaining. And I will agree to an extent that in general, the woke mindset is going to present where I can't possibly make something without lecturing my audience. So it makes it very difficult for them to make something entertaining. It's why comedy is no longer funny. These modern comedians, they want to preach and lecture at their audience. They want applause. They don't want laughs, right? So that's a big issue there. That also being said, I do think there are times where you can have, like you said, there can be people that are woke. I mean, look at the entire dev team of the game Warframe. Warframe, the studio behind it, is a bunch of woke people. Very liberal, very left-leaning. Warframe is a fantastic game. It is a truly fantastic game. Great storytelling, great combat, great gameplay mechanics. And yeah, the studio is as woke as they get. That doesn't mean that they can't. It just makes it that much harder, I would say, for people who have that mindset to actually make something worth giving a damn about. So that's just kind of my take on that. Hey, did I lose you there, Kilted? Oh no, we lost him. Hopefully you actually heard everything I just said, though. Yo, Kilted, are you there? Kilted.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Ah, there we go.
You probably
Okay,
missed everything I just said, didn't you?
No, not quite everything. I blinked out for a second, like my screen just went to the OBS logo, and then went back to you while you were talking.
David Chen says, moving forward, he's destroyed his reputation forever. I mean, I would say that yes, he has created a division of his former fans, his former audience that will not trust him moving forward, and that's on him. That's on Daniel
Vavra.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Nobody to blame but himself at that point.
Oh no, yeah, for multiple reasons, and I don't know if you saw. There've been, as far as this interview goes, there's the Google translation, the YouTube translation, and then I saw a couple of posts, rather long ones that I bookmarked, and I read through a little bit of native speaking translations, and what some of the things that he meant. It's like, oh, okay. And you got to wonder, is it lost in translation or is it maliciously lost in translation?
Well, here's my take on it. So for anybody who's out of the loop, this is the original video interview that surfaced because of a Reddit post that got shared on Twitter. So anybody who's out of the loop, this is what the conversation's about. He's on this Czechoslovakian, do they call themselves Czechoslovakia, or is it just Czech? I don't even know. I'm that uneducated. So that being said, he is speaking to these people on this interview, and there's a lot of stuff that was taken and auto-translated like we're doing right now through YouTube, and then basically, I would say filtered through the least flattering light possible, if that's a fair way to put it, on a Reddit post. And so here is the Reddit post in question. And it says, it's from Kotaku in Action, which of course is just a Reddit thread, which I guess sometimes they post anti-Kotaku, anti-journalist stuff, but there's a lot of things that are posted on Kotaku in Action that turn out to just be complete bullshit, rumor, nothing to be taken seriously, right? So this says, Daniel Vavra talks about his fear of being fired if he didn't appease journalists and how they self-censored and removed portions of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 after using sensitivity consultants in New Czech interview. 50% of this headline is out of context, and I would argue almost just a flat-out lie, based off what we're actually seeing from translation. So,
like, whenever I read that, I thought to myself, I thought, saying, well, not necessarily the loss in translation, but the statement of fear of being fired. It's like, okay, my brain goes in all kinds of different directions anytime I see any sort of statement, especially when it's online. And I am guilty of giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, even Disney.
Oh, that's a tough one. But I mean, look, they can still sometimes, once in a while, manage to put something good out there. But yeah, let me get him back in here. Hang on.
Is it my side?
I'm going to say it's your side, but I don't know. Maybe it's my side. We'll just keep tabs on you.
Wait, did you hear me the whole time?
I heard you. You said up to the point where you said you'll even give Disney, sometimes.
I'll give benefit of the doubt based on whatever individual product you put out. And for this one, as soon as I saw, it made more sense as far as context goes with the two separate translations, like the actual link native speaking translations.
Yes.
The fear of losing based on where he lived and the people there and the regulations and stuff that he had to follow. So it's like fear of being fired. I don't know. Like there's a lot of lacking context.
Well, and the funniest thing is, and I'll read through this for everyone else because it's too hard for them to. I think it's too small for them to read on the stream here. But the funniest thing was I read through the Reddit thread, through the post, and even with the least charitable interpretation of what was said, I'm still looking at this going, this is still pretty much what happened, and we already, like I said before, this feels like a nothing burger because most of this we already knew. That's just the weirdest thing. So it says it's on a podcast called Insider. There's it's 20 minutes long. It's on YouTube in Czech. And it says that he's at about 9 minutes into it, he talks about how the sword of Damocles hung over his head and he was very afraid that journalists. Now, again, this didn't pop up when I was watching it on auto-translate, that he was very afraid that journalists would do what they did with his first game on him again. About how it wasn't very diverse.
I think that's a justifiable thing to be afraid of.
Justifiable to be afraid of. But I don't know that he actually used the words, I was very afraid of the journalists, right? This is what I'm saying is I have to look at the other translations because I didn't pick that up when I was watching it on YouTube. He talks about how he was afraid that they would scour his Facebook. He did talk about that, about auto-translate. Well, now that we can auto-translate things to English, people would see more of his political rants and write up how he's a Trumpist, right-winger, and against this and that, or something, and publish articles about it. He talks about how that felt like a threat to him and he felt prepared to get fired over it. So I don't understand. First off, this wasn't written very well. They say that he was very afraid, but right away in the interview, and when you read this, he says he was prepared to be fired for it. That doesn't sound like someone who's afraid. It sounds like somebody who's like, well, I'm ready. Just do it. That doesn't reek of fear to me.
It just reeks of something. It's like, oh, the same thing's going to happen that happened with the first game, and let's see what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. So then he talks about how the other side attacked him, which did happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, it did happen. Again, everyone's allowed to have their opinion about the game, the quality of it, whether they perceive it to be woke or not, whether they think Daniel Vavra's a piece of shit. Like, honestly, like I said, all those things, you are entitled to feel the way you feel about the game, the director, and everything else. I'm not going to try to convince anybody otherwise. But it says, and they called him woke, and that could have helped him because the group that hated them the first time around started knee-jerk cheering for them because they hate the other group. Now, I'm going to say, I don't think the woke crowd versus the anti-woke crowd helped him sell the game. I think it definitely gave him more free press, but also more negative press. I don't think the woke people went out and bought this game. I truly don't.
Yeah.
Not the people that hated him from the get-go. There's no way. He talks about how he took the journalist criticism of the first game to heart, and they put some things into the game based on that. Yeah, I think that translates fairly well. It says the auto-translate I saw said that he took some of it to heart. Then he rambles on about racism and anti-woke. Again, phrasing, right? Mm-hmm. How he identifies as a centrist now or something and talks about extremist Christians coming after him. That did happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. and calling him things because he trampled on Christianity. Then the host starts shilling The Last of Us 2 and they start talking about that. Leaves out the part where Daniel Vavra says he didn't like it because it was super woke and he could tell about the political leanings of the people that made the show. They don't even mention that in this Reddit post.
Yeah.
Then there's a paywalled portion, and here at the very bottom it says where he talks about self-censorship and consultants like Sweet Baby Inc. in parentheses here. Someone Czech translated this small portion like this: moderator. And the producer didn't interfere with the development in any way, even in this age of culture wars? Vavra. No, we were rather careful. They were interested in what we were doing and were informed, but they liked it and didn't tell us what to add or remove. Perhaps it was also blah, blah, blah. So I don't understand. This turned into this massive thing online. Like I said, JDA and everyone else from Fandom Pulse was like running this like a victory lap. They were talking about it in this group chat, which is I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes here. It is absolutely hilarious. This group chat is imploded. It's got Grummz and everybody else in it. Yorch and Master of the TDS just left. I'm talking. This is a massive shit show. This is a massive shit show. It's insane. So somehow it got inferred that there were consultants like Sweet Baby Inc. involved in this, even though this last line he says They liked it and didn't tell us what to add or remove. I've been saying all along, if you hate the game and you hate Daniel Vavra, point your finger at Daniel Vavra in the game and say, I hate you, you made my game suck, it's not as good as the first game, you ruined the sequel. And that's your opinion that you're entitled to. But people kept looking for a boogeyman on this game when I think it was always the case that if you want to point your finger at somebody and blame something for the game sucking, you got to blame Daniel Vavra. You have to blame the guy who called the shots, because he's the one saying, I called the shots.
Yeah, in both of the native speaking translations that I saw, they mentioned the same thing, that there's no concrete evidence that there was any consultancy group involved in this. Nothing to be found.
Yeah.
No statements of or anything like that.
Yeah. So let's see here. So then, of course, we had, this is what kicked it off, because Grummz shared the Reddit thread, of course, without even bothering to. Nobody who even replied to this watched the video first. It took me, like, I was busy at work. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to take 6 minutes, sit down, make myself a cup of tea, and I'm going to listen to this or watch it on YouTube. I got through about 6 or 7 minutes of it on auto translate. I'm like, okay, I see what he was talking about there, but that's not the way it was translated. I see what he's talking about there. And I realized this is one of those things where, sure, if you could extrapolate your own interpretation of it, fine, but that's not being honest. If you're going to be objective, you have to give the most objective take on it possible. So Grummz said, there you have it, KCD2, well, he actually said KDC2, and Dale Vavra rode the GG wave to make him a millionaire with KDC1, and then turned his back on Gamergate to appease the journalists. I even covered the tweets on my channel. I've covered a lot of this stuff. I've covered a lot of this. The way he treated YouTubers on his side during the launch of KCD2 Grummz, come on, man, was awful because they were on the wrong side for him now. Complete sellout and traitor if this translation's accurate, utter coward if true, very rich now. For many money means more than principles. Oh, the irony. Oh my God, the irony. I finally said screw it. And today I quote tweeted Grummz after he was complaining about something, and I'm like, yes, but did they deliver their game? I'm like, I'm over it. I'm over it.
I don't think he's going to ever live that one down.
I'm just,
did they deliver their game? Hey, Grummz, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm just over it. He says, if I'm wrong, let community notes sort it out. Give it 24 hours and we'll know if this was indeed what happened in the review. No. See, the problem is Grummz should just delete the tweet and rephrase it and say, okay, so here's what we know. Here's the translation. Make your own opinion for yourself. He's not going to do that.
No, he just puts something out as fact and then just walks away. When it's like, no.
You know, Tekla, I'll say I don't even know if it's that I didn't like the second game as much as I was. So I took a year or two off from after I first tried Kingdom Come Deliverance. The game was really difficult on my Xbox, and then I got it on Game Pass on the computer. I'm like, I'll give it another go, right? And then I got to where I was like, I really love this game. 30 some odd hours in. That's like barely scratching the surface of that game. And then the sequel was coming out. I'm like, okay, well, I'll pause on the original. I'll jump on the sequel. It's going to be amazing, right? It's going to be fantastic. I don't know if I just didn't like the game as much because of reasons, or if it was this entire cycle that I just got so worn out on it. I'm like, screw it. I'll come back to the second game a year from now and make my opinion about it. Because right now I can't look at the game objectively. I've got so many other things going on. Like I'm over the entire thing. I'm just over it, you know? So here is the first translation that you were talking about. I'm just going to check and make sure that you're still there, right?
I'm here.
All right, perfect. We're just going to have to make sure we do a mic check every now and then. I'm starting to get PTSD. All right. So,
well, no, if it blinks on me again, I'll put it in the chat.
No sweat.
I'm sure.
So Marshall Tom Pedorowski. Now, again, I want to be very transparent. I cannot verify that these people are who they say they are as far as native Czech speaking people. Okay. I'm just saying that because, again, I want to be honest about that. However, this person says, I took the time to watch the YouTube interview segment by typing the URL manually because you lazy wanker are too busy pasting the link yourself and my conclusion as a native speaker in this. You absolute lying morons. First, about the very afraid part, Dan mentions that he was hoping to cast Andrei Vecchi as Sigismund because he's friends with Colonel Otakar Fulton. You can be excused for not knowing who that is because it's our internal problem, but imagine a Stalin-level censorship fanatic serving our current Biden-style government who loves attacking and threatening people due to his position as Director of Strategic Communications in our upper echelons. That was a mouthful. North Korea it's much worse, but not your concern. The interviewers jokingly say that Vecchi is compensated with Marek Vasut, Otto von Bergau, and KCD2, Tommy and Mafia, who's known as a big right-wing actor and a close friend of Dan's, who's joined him on many occasions against censorship and leftist fanatics regarding all varieties of commie crap like the Green Deal, death of architecture, brigading to cancel, and much more. So one thing I will say is, regardless of not quite understanding his take on certain like specific issues, I know that Daniel Vavra is not a Christian. He's, I believe, Viking or into like, I
thought he was Jewish.
No. He is not religiously Jewish.
Okay.
He is, if anything, I think he's atheist, or he's massively like into like black metal. And so I believe he is just like, he likes the Norse gods. I know that. He has said that as much himself. Whether or not he's religious as far as Norse, I don't know. The afraid word you swing about in this document comes from Dan when he says, paraphrased, as he has a stutter, one thing that I'm afraid of is that this mentality will cost me my favorite actors that I might want to employ. Dan has a lifelong record of anti-communism and anti-leftism. Yes, he mentions that some conservatives act even worse than woke. I can't use that word on YouTube. The bundle of sticks word. By his words, conservatives had to hide their beliefs for 2 decades, and now they're striking back. Sure, that is very true. I mean, obviously, we're talking about this here on YouTube, right? So clearly the pendulum has swung the other direction. And yes, some are much worse. They are indeed in this very comment section looking at you, alleged wife beater, furry degenerate, John of the Rice, you lying bastard or Yorch Torch, you fake little bitch. So yes, some of those, I mean, it's funny shit, I'm not going to lie. Some of these internet Puritans have the ability to even be more annoying than the purple hairs. Moving on to the Sword of Damocles, Dan says that he has been afraid that he's going to be just like in the first game when lefty journos brigaded against the first game, targeted by journo mobs because of the lack of diversity. He checked his Facebook by switching it to English, and yeah, he's still a big Trump guy. Dan says he was ready to be fired from his job because, unlike you primitives, I know that the boss of Warhorse is not Dan, but Martin Friedvalsky, and the executive is Martin Klima. I'm sure I'm butchering these names, but whatever. Dan is the creative director. Very different position. Luckily, these guys are no lunatics, especially Martin, who's also known as the director of one of the largest locomotive firms in Europe. They had the power to fire Dan should controversy arise, chose logic instead, unlike the fake right-wingers mentioned. Then Dan mentions that he experienced the reverse of what he expected, being called a leftist and a wokeist by the suspects I mentioned and some other no-name rage baiters. This has also happened to people like me. Like, when I first came out trying to be objective about this entire situation and get to the bottom of what was going on with the game, is it actually banned? No, it's not banned on Steam. That was a lie, but I discovered it was banned on PlayStation. When I was trying to figure out like what's in the game, and then of course they ran with the story of the underage sodomy and everything else. I was just trying to get to the bottom of the story to figure out where everyone's opinions were coming from and like what the truth was in the matter of it. At the end of the day, there were people who were honestly more insane over this game. And like I said, John has been in my DMs before after this entire situation. He's like, you need to apologize to your friends and this and that. I'm like, first off, asshole, you're not my friend. Secondly, who do I owe an apology to? Nobody. I'm allowed to have my own opinions and make my own interpretation of the facts based on my objective opinion. And my objective opinion is you're all insane. So again, this entire situation has taken probably years off my life just talking about it and thinking about it. Let me see where we're at here. Which Dan says was expected from the lefties, even though KCD2 has things that lefties should praise. Dan says he put contextual historical themes in the second game to see if lefties would rage about them, persecuted homos, Musa being an outcast, but instead of extra leftist rage, he encountered impotent puritanic rage from the De La Rose types, who, by the way, are absolute failures at history, and Dan laughs it off as he should. Now, while we're talking about the failures at history thing, I actually have a tweet that I want to bring up because it's absolutely hilarious. I was going to save it for later.
Okay.
Grummz has this one here when he responds to this, and we'll get to this in a minute. De La Rose here responds, the game is a historical game about Christian crusaders.
What? No.
It's not. So I had to throw that in there because I had this tweet sitting here waiting, and I'm like, he's picking on their inability to understand history, and you have John De La Rose over here proving his point in real time. Let me see, where are we at here? Dan Riley says he wants nothing in common with the Wokies or the Puritans, that he found out that he's a centrist is something that a Ameritard mind cannot comprehend. Hey now, we're not all Ameritards. Because centrists in the Czech Republic are called, Nazis and fascists by the Anglosphere. This is not the Tim Pool centrist, this is the 1990 Donald Trump Democratic centrist. So again, I've said before, and I'll say it again, a big problem with Gamergate 2 that a lot of like people on the extremes didn't realize, and I can look at this as somebody who's far more conservative than the average gamer, Gamergate or whatever. You're not allied with a bunch of right-wing Catholic, crusading, conservative, Christian people. Most people that were voting for Trump or who are a part of Gamergate are somewhere adjacent to the middle. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept that as reality. That is just the reality. So Dan then says that the rage campaign of the Puritans, as stupid as it was, actually helped the game by generating extra buzz. And this I disagree. I don't know that it actually helped the game. Maybe a little, like when this was really kicking off, it jumped up a couple spots on the sales chart. I don't know that it really helped that much. He still stands by the side that on the side that the game is a medieval story, that it's historically believable. Even, and this is my personal input, Musa should not have been a Muslim. The problem with him and his writing is not him being from Mali, but praising Allah and Sheet. I will say, people have disagreed about this. This Musa character apparently is really preachy, and a lot of people have taken issue with that, and I understand. And then there are some people who are like, well, of course he's preachy. He thinks his civilization's better than the other one. That's everybody at the time. That's believable. The interviewer just straight up asks if the new faction attacking Dan is just Christian fundamentalists, and Dan rightly says that he was afraid the day would come that the pendulum swings. Ask yourself the same question. People who I followed for years have tasted blood and started evangelizing. Melanie Mac, Razorfist, and more. It's true, and Dan says this is probably the first victim of this shift, since the same people touted KCD1 as the greatest Christian game ever, which was never the intention of Warhorse, and I've disagreed with a lot of people too. The first game, there is nothing about it that is a Christian game, other than the fact that Christianity is the prevailing religion of the time.
Because Christianity was the prevailing religion in that area.
Of most of Europe at that point, yeah. I mean, and then afterwards, after the, Protestant Reformation and the Renaissance and everything else, it got spread around the Western Hemisphere. It's like, it doesn't make any sense that people would confuse the two. But again, that's people who get carried away because they see something. It's the same thing woke people do when they believe that they've seen something in a game that's supposed to speak to them. And it's like, no, I just made that character that way because I thought it looked cool. And it's like, oh no, this is for identify, you know the word I'm trying to say, representation purposes. Yeah. Let me see here.
They see what they want to see and ignore all the evidence to the contrary.
Exactly. They either add context to things that aren't there, that don't need context, or they take things that have context and try to twist it to fit their own initiative, right? Hey, Tekla, like I said, this stream is not a defense of Daniel Vavra. You're totally entitled to your opinion on him. I'm getting through the translation stuff so we can poke fun at the retards. That we gotta get through this. This is like our homework, and then we can have the cake afterwards, okay? Yeah. Well,
oh wow. I definitely criticized some of the stuff that Vavra was saying, but I also criticize whoever says something stupid.
Yeah, I look at it. You're right from the perspective of a game director, a professional in the industry.
But it was still funny.
It was still funny.
It was still funny.
It was still funny. I mean, yeah, it was really hard because there were times where I was agreeing with him. I'm like, oh god, when he called out John and said, "Is this you?" and it's like,
oh man,
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I know it's funny, but God, don't fucking, dude. You're supposed, you're trying to sell a product. Shut up.
So Heath, I will say about the whole sexual fling with the 16-year-old boy thing. The characters had sex in the first game. So is the issue that the characters had sex at the historical age of 15 or 16, despite the fact that they were portrayed as 30-year-olds based on the actors that were playing them? Or is your problem that it was the gay sex? Because again, I understand people are going to have an issue with the gay sex. Trust me, I don't want to play games that have gay sex in them. Hey, that's an easy, not very crazy opinion to have. I look at it and go, if you're conflating the two, but you're going to forgive the first game for all the whoring, debauchery, murder, stealing, theft, but the second one's evil because just that one, now it's gay sex. I look at it and go, the line off The Office, straight sex, gay sex, it's all good. I'm like, no. But again, trying to put a number on it when the characters were clearly being represented as adults because the actors were 25, 30 years old, I just think, I don't know. It seems like a bit of a stretch. Let's see. The interviewers...
The characters were based on a particular... the historical characters were a certain age, but my understanding, and Vavra had to come out and confirm it, that the characters in the game were above age.
You're not supposed to look at the characters and think of them as teenagers.
Yeah, that's So, I mean, what further do you how much further do you take the argument after that?
Yeah.
They're adults.
At some point, you're
So-
splitting hairs. At some point, you're splitting hairs because you can accept the fact that 15 and 16-year-olds and younger than that did get married in the Dark Ages and before, and that did happen for centuries. And while I personally find that in our current times disgusting, that's just the reality of how it was. Now you have to look at and go, okay, now how do we, in current time, portray that in a game without it being disgusting? Well, it's really easy. You just age them up. You make them adults. Done.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what Vavra said they did. So, hey, there we go.
Yep. Like I said, I'm not here to like I've said before, I want the age of consent like raised to 18 bare minimum for everybody, because my God, people are just too retarded these days. I don't trust anybody sleeping with anybody, but again, that's a whole different ball of wax. The interviewer straight up asks if the new faction attacking Dan's Christian fundamentalists. We talked about that. Dan laughs off the accusations of being a Jewish Satanist. Why, you ask? Apart from being a retarded accusation, everyone knows Vavra is well aware that he listens to a lot of death metal, black metal, and yes, Dan's not a Christian. We knew it for decades. Game's not Christian. It's not made to be so. It's historical. Dan mentions he still keeps his Bible that his grandma gave him when he was 12. I wonder where fake bundles of sticks like De La Rose keep theirs. Even I still hold my own copy I got when I was younger than Dan. 14-minute mark, he hits the strikes the nail on the head once again. What church do you visit? What denomination? When did you last open your Bible? And the confrontation went silent with the fake-ass Christians. They're as Christian as my fish, he says. Then it gets into like The Last of Us 2, and we can kind of like, we don't need to go over all this, but he does. And regarding The Last of Us, Dan Vavra does tell the interviewer that he could definitely tell that the politics of The Last of Us were left-leaning, and he didn't enjoy it because he says it was woke again. So women were less sexually exploited than they were now. That's also true. But again, guys, we're trying to compare Dark Ages to now, and I don't think it's a good comparison to even try making. So this is what happened. This got shared around, and I swear to God, in the group chat, speaking to themselves, because they know I don't comment anymore. They know I don't talk to any of these guys in the group chat. And John De La Rose is like, I know some of you in here shilled for this game and defended this man and blah, blah, blah. It's okay. You can apologize. We're not like the left. We'll forgive you. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. And I don't say that very often. So, but he was honest. John De La Rose was acting like the freaking Pope of gaming. Like we needed to go ask penance or, seek penance from him. And I'm just like, I'm just going to sit and wait. I'm just going to sit and wait and see what happens. Because I know I looked at the translation that I saw on YouTube. I'm like, doesn't quite line up with this, what the Reddit post was. And so here we are. Zax and their viewers just joined. Hey, Zax, how's it going, dude? Yeah, so I knew things were going to get, like, hit the fan pretty fast when I saw all this stuff getting shared around. And so you see John Trent here saying, who will be the first to flip? Smash JT, Hypnotic, or Savvy? Yorch said, Smash will be the first to flip, and it's not even close. Now, if I'm being fair, I would say the same. Smash JT, if he was going to change sides, he probably would. He actually put a post out there going, okay, well, I guess I have to maybe reevaluate whether I think this game's woke or not. I'm like, dude, just stop. Don't. Stop with the knee-jerk reactions. Please stop. That's what Endymion did. Endymion, I swear to God, he did this during the lead up to the game coming out, and then he's like, I hate this game. I'm going to play this game for 150 hours to platinum it so I can say I'm never going to play this game again. If I hate a game, I'm not going to play it for 150 hours. Why?
I played Veilguard for 20 hours and deleted it. Sorry. I didn't even get to Tosh.
Dude,
that scene, I couldn't.
Dude,
the dialogue, the gameplay was just like, this is boring. I don't want to play this anymore.
I downloaded freaking Oblivion Remastered, and I didn't play the first Oblivion. I played Morrowind, and that was like my real one experience with Elder Scrolls. And I'm like, I'll check out Oblivion Remastered. Why not? 125 gigabytes? Okay, fine. So I downloaded it. A couple days later, another game called Expedition 33 came out, and I'm like, bye-bye, Oblivion. So long. Hello, SSD space,
Crashing 3 times in an hour kind of made me go, I'm going to come back to this later.
Oh, yeah, my game crashed. The minute I got out of the prison, the game crashed. So I'm like, no, I'm gone. Hey, Little Miss Anonymous.
I closed the first Oblivion Gate crash. It's like, really? And that's something that everyone is talking about. It like you close that first Oblivion Gate, game crashes. Like, wow. Okay. You think you could have fixed that part of the game when you remastered it?
I know, right? Yeah, no, Heath, I understand. I 100% feel you. And again, like I've said before, people kept trying to blame Embracer Group for the decisions made, despite the fact that Vavra and Toby and everyone else attached to the game was like, no, we did this, our decision, our choice, our creative freedom. Nobody told us, nobody told us, nobody told us. It's like, at some point, it's okay to blame the guy who's saying, I did it. This would be like if OJ confessed to the murder and nobody believed he actually did it, you know? Actually, turns out I think his son did it, and he was covering for him. That's a theory, I guess, that's been floated around. But
Oblivion, Jesus. That was Crush House. That was a game.
Oh,
here's a weird thing, okay? I found out that game had Sweet Baby Inc.'s hand all over it.
Yes.
Because they were in the credits and everything. Here's the thing. I had fun playing it.
No.
I did. It was hilarious. The mechanics were interesting. The videos, the photos, catering to the viewers and everything. I had a fun time playing it.
Man.
But man, it's and it has an interesting story behind it. Like contestants in a dating house that at the end of the season they go through a grinder and they get poured out. They're clones. It turns out to be a horror game.
Oh,
with a very
that's interesting.
A very strange story that there's different endings for it. So yeah, I mean, that's what, like, people didn't want to touch it, and I understand it. But I mean, as far as messaging goes, the characters were all bizarre. But one thing I did like about it, and I have to compliment this, it made fun of everybody. It made fun of all different like cliche redneck libertarian girls who like girls, guys who like it. Made fun of all of them, and it's like that's what I like in a funny game in comedy.
I mean, as long as it was done as more of a satirical piece and it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. I mean, okay, so Sweet Baby Inc. helped with Hyper Lightbreaker. The game just sucked. It had nothing to do with being woke. It was just a shitty game. Hey, let's see, Words of Paradise. Hey guys, welcome in. Hey, Denial of Service. I know who that is. That's one of the guys on our Discord server. Issue the Oblivion Remastered crashing at the sewers is mainly the fault of UE5, along with what isn't the fault of UE5. And thanks, welcome in Zach. Thanks for the raid. So yeah, what were we talking about before then? My brain just left my body. I don't even know where I'm at now.
I have a sinus cold, so I have no idea.
Oh man, you could have bailed tonight. You didn't have to show up.
I'm good.
All right, we'll push on through then.
I'll stick around for a little bit longer.
All right. So let's move on. Obviously, they were looking for everyone to come apologizing. And yes, like you said, I don't know if you saw this specific translation, this Gaming Brethren Advocates Mutual Aid FDR and Society account. This, I don't even know.
Nope. That's a mouthful. No, I didn't see that one.
I don't even know what it means, to be honest. But he actually talked to somebody that was able to translate for him in Czech. And again, I'm not saying that these are 100% verified.
I did see that one. Okay. I wasn't paying attention who posted it, but I did see the dialogue.
Okay. There was this Gamer Brethren Advocates, whatever. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. So, says right here, okay, so this is, again, the first-hand Czech speaker. Allegedly, please don't take this as us disproving or proving anything, guys. I am reading words on the internet, okay? Okay, so in this bit, he talks about how the publishers were, of course, checking what was being done, but gave an okay to everything, didn't tell them to change anything. Mentions that there was a lot of fact-checking being done on the side of the studio, using all sorts of advisors that already specialize in local history and history of religions depicted in the game, so they're auto-censored themselves, but more in the way where they would make sure that they're not making anything up. Okay, so if we're going for historical accuracy and context and everything else, yes, I know, guys, gay sex was not historically accepted, even though it did happen. It just didn't happen the way they portrayed it in the game. Part of the criticism of KCD2, I don't know if you've heard about it or not, Kilted, is that some of the stuff with the gay relationships are not portrayed very authentically, because it's a little bit more
supposed to make you a pariah, huh?
Right, it should.
Very looked down upon if you're found out, to the point of jail time and
I assumed it would result in them actually, getting executed. Like, that'd be an interesting twist on the game. No, apparently there's one scene in a barn where there's like a party and you're dancing with another guy. I don't know, I haven't got to that point in the game yet, but they said it was like no big deal that like he's openly flirting with Henry in the game. That doesn't make sense to me. I think that's done very not true to history, right? All right, thanks, David Mills. Appreciate it. I think people are overreacting to the advisor or consultant part. And this is the part I definitely agree on. But he doesn't mention any cultural sensitivity consultants. He talks about historians and religion experts. Most likely he means Jewish, local Catholic, and Protestant. And in the case of one black trader NPC, also someone that probably knows a little bit about Islam in Mali at the time. I can vouch for the consultants they use, as one of them was my history professor at university, and the in-house historian is a Polish girl that always made sure diligently to look for appropriate historical sources, as she has a PhD in Central European history. So whatever controversy-seeking people are trying to find, there is not there at all. So in terms of the, again, we've gotten so gun-shy of this word consultants, right? Because consultants usually mean some sort of, otherwise agenda being injected into a game or a story or whatever that doesn't belong there. It's because the consultants say, oh, you need to do this because otherwise people won't like your product. It won't be acceptable, right?
Thanks, Kim Belair. We appreciate it.
Exactly. Let's see. So, of course, the interviewer says cultural advisor, so to say. And then, of course, the first-hand source says he doesn't mention any cultural advisors. He talks about historians. And he says, so academics? And he says, yes, exactly. So, talking about academic consultants, not sensitivity readers, not DEI consultants, not Sweet Baby Inc. like they've been trying to portray it as. Again, I don't care if you hate the game and think Daniel Vavra is a piece of garbage. I just want to make sure that people understand that there are people running around spewing bullshit because they know that they'll sell their books, get more clicks, because they don't have any ethics or morals, despite claiming to be the arbiter of all things moral and ethical. Yeah, it's exhausting, isn't it?
Well, when you mentioned the selling books, it's like, I don't know if you saw JDA's Gamergate 3 post where he went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the way at the bottom, trying to sell his books. Sign up to the membership. I'm like, you got, but
it's worse than that. Like, I sold a couple books for him. Okay.
If you can't see it, like that post right there, this should reveal everything you need to know about why he's doing this.
Yep.
Which, okay.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's his motives? He wants to sell books. That's it. He doesn't believe anything he's saying.
I don't have the YouTube video or a post to point to. So if he ever sees this live stream, JDA will say I'm a lying piece of shit, woke scumbag, SJW, whatever, leftist. Oh, no. But I know for a fact that he has talked about how he uses YouTube to sell his books. Because again, YouTube is just something that he does, whereas if he's first and foremost an author. So those words have come out of his mouth that YouTube only exists to help him sell his books.
Oh no, he's been quite vocal about that. I've seen quite a few posts. He's just quite vocal. He'll make a post and then mute the whole thing and just wait for the interactions, wait for the traction, wait for the traffic. That's why more people need to just screenshot his stuff. Don't share his posts. Like, and the whole they're trying to cancel me. It's like, good God. We want you to keep talking. Please keep talking.
I don't. I muted him like a month and a half ago. Only reason I didn't block him is because if I block him, he's gonna go, "Oh, you blow." And it's like, and dude, I don't care.
I just block anybody.
No, I don't block anyone.
I love this app. It's so entertaining.
I block spam bot, e-thought, horror accounts, and that's about it. Like those are the only ones I block.
Understandable.
Yeah. So, anyways, long thread here, a bunch of back and forth, deleted post, whatever. At the end of the day, Daniel Vavra says, in response to this, where he says, essentially, he admits to changing his product as to not upset and offend progressive activists like video game journalists and critics. These people are notoriously nefarious ideologues who desire to browbeat devs into catering to their political worldview. Most of them aren't even gamers and don't give a shit about the actual quality or authenticity of the product. That's true. It's inherently anti-consumer to serve and appease these people, and Daniel Vavra says, I don't. Okay, either believe him, don't believe him. He's saying, I don't hire these people, I don't care about these people. If you hate the guy, you're not going to be swayed by anything we're talking about tonight. Again, this is not a stream to try to change anyone's opinion. And then you have this account here that says, my native Czech translator friend came through. The likes of George Grummz, Pirate Nation, and JDA are talking out their effing assholes. Pretty much confirmed to me. Is this the one you saw?
Oh, yeah, excuse me. Not the one before that, but this is the one. Okay, that's the one.
All right.
That's the second one that I checked out.
So here we go. This one says, so the first part is correct in that Marshall tweet. Vavra says that he wanted to cast Vecchi because he's a very good actor, but he thought he would not get him because Vavra has a bad reputation and Vecchi is friends with the Fulton guy. I don't know who that is. And Vavra said that
he's friends with 2 different people that he wanted involved with the game that are on 2 different sides of the political spectrum over there.
Mhm.
And he was worried that there would be, like, based on what from what I read, he was afraid that there would be some clash of personalities because
right.
of their opposing views. That's what he was afraid of.
Well, if you look at Daniel Vavra's Twitter history, like outside of the game situation, he's tweeting about like global and world politics stuff and local politics constantly. Like he's constantly tweeting about different politicians, things I have no idea about what's going on because I'm not in the Czech over there. I have no clue what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big part of his personality. The man has an armory worth of guns. The man likes his weapons. He likes his individual freedom. Again, he likes his creative freedom. He's opposed to communists. Doesn't mean he's a super moral guy. Doesn't mean he agrees with most. Like I thought about this earlier. I think a big problem for a lot of us in the Western Hemisphere, especially in the States here, we don't quite see the world the same in general as like Europeans, and so. When we think of traditional right-wing conservative Republicans in the United States, you don't necessarily understand that conservatives, if you want to call them that, in other parts of the world, especially in like Eastern Europe, are not going to be like-minded on a lot of things as our worldview over here. So, let me see here. But to his surprise, Vecchi said yes, and they had a cordial time during their collaboration. I saw that in the video. So his point was that when the people are radically devoted to one side, it can hinder his work. He said he's afraid of it not only in work environment, but in general, meaning people might not want to talk to you if you get put in a box. Then he says that the conservatives are much more tolerant than the libs because the conservatives were used to not talking about being conservatives, and libs always thought that everybody's liberal, and that's the way it should be. Now that's no different anywhere in the world, it seems. That's been like...
I was like, wow, that sounds familiar. Is he talking about here or there?
Is he talking about Hollywood for like the last 30 years? Isn't it crazy?
Yep.
Ain't it wild how right-leaning creators are worried about defending left-leaning actors, but left-leaning creators in Hollywood are chomping at the bit to blacklist right-leaning actors? Yeah, that's exactly it, Heath. That's what he's talking about there. Apparently it's the same all over the world. I had no idea. Yes, he says he was prepared to be fired from his job for his views and was afraid that people would go through his Facebook and other posts and write about him being a Trumpist and not diverse enough, as they did when the first game came out. But he was very surprised it was the conservatives who called him woke and a lefty. Then he says the game's apolitical. It doesn't serve to have any message in this meaning leftist manner, but we put in a couple of things that they consider normal to reflect on the criticism from the previous times. We did it in a probable way to reality. He thought the leftists wouldn't like it, but the other side likes it even less, so it was branded woke. And he's talking about, again, the gay option, Musa existing, and a couple other things like that. And he was actually expecting it to piss off the lefties, because again, you have one black guy, and he's like a fish out of water in the game.
And he's a bit pretentious.
And very pretentious, yes. Which, again, I haven't got to that point in the game yet. People complain about Musa. I'm like, guys, maybe you're not supposed to like him, but I can't speak to that because I haven't played the game. So I don't know if they try to paint him in a good light or not. All I know is people say he's an obnoxious character, so. Let me see. He says he thought the leftists wouldn't like it. I don't want to have anything to do with either side. I realized I'm in the center. He says that the majority of people are annoyed by the culture war and the hatred of the anti-wokers dimmed the hatred of the other side. He calls it idiotic, though. He wanted to make a medieval story as he researched it and thought it might be and not putting any reflection of modern politics. If anybody sees it there, it talks more about them than me. And that's actually very true there. Kind of like we were talking about earlier about seeing things that aren't there and putting context where it doesn't need to be because you identify with something you see in a game or a movie. He said he was afraid of the time when the pendulum swings from the far left to the far right because it's not going to be pretty, but didn't expect to be the first victim of it. I think we've seen a bit of that across the board.
Ooh, just a little bit.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Then he said, and I say that as somebody who's pretty conservative. Like, I'm pretty right-wing on a lot of things, but even I look at it and go, I don't want people to be forced with a gun to their head to go to a specific church on Sunday if they're not religious. I don't want that. That's not something I want. Go call me crazy, I guess. I don't know. Then he said somebody yelled at him for not having handicap access to his church in the game and called him a Jew and a Satanist. Bless you.
No, that was a snort of laughter.
That was a snort. I thought you sneezed.
Oh no. Okay, no. I have to mute myself when I sneeze because no, it's loud. It's obnoxious. I don't I
You
don't I don't sneeze like a normal human being. No, I'll blow
Oh,
yours
that's
out.
good to know. That's good to know. You can spoil the game for me. Maestro, at this point, the entire game has been spoiled for me. I basically know 90% of the game that I didn't ask to know because of investigating it. So, like I said, when my excitement for the game is at an all-time low, this is part of it. Is everyone had to know every little thing about the game, and it's kind of like ruined any excitement I had for it. He says the majority of people are annoyed by the culture war. Where are we at here? He said he was afraid of the time when the pendulum swings. Then he said somebody yelled at him, handicap access.
That's where we're at.
Okay, and called him a Jew and a Satanist, but he put Christianity in it because it was time appropriate, not because he was Christian, because he says he's not one. That's 14 minutes in. I think I'm happy if there's any mention of DEI or consultants, that'd be good to know as well. He didn't say anything about those. I'll watch the rest of the video. Okay, they just talk about The Last of Us 2, Hussites, and history. I think it's Hussites. A couple more general things, and then the video ends. In the little snippets at the end, though, Dan says he wants to make a World War II game, and he already has a couple pages written. Thought you might be interested to know that. So that's it. If the translations from 3 different people that we've seen online are to be believed, okay? And again, you can, like I've said with all this stuff, you can believe what you want, make your own decision about the game, about Daniel Vavra, and about the authenticity of these translations. I'm not here to convince you. We're just talking about it. But yeah, I mean, if you go back to that original Reddit post and just look at the way that this was all, where's that post at? If you just look at the way this read and then compare it to the translations, even the YouTube translation is more gracious than what this Reddit post. Hussites are a Christian sect, okay.
It's Reddit, so.
I know, I don't use Reddit. Like, I have it on my phone in case I ever need to look up anything. I think one time I went on Asmongold's Reddit and posted a video a friend had made. Oh, no, I didn't go looking through it. I posted a video a friend had made because I'm like, maybe this will help her get some views on the video. And then, not that that was any part like I had anything to do with it, but the video did exceptionally well for her, and that was really cool. But, no, I don't.
Ready for Lego leaks. I want to know what's coming out, what my wallet's going to cry about.
Dude, I try to avoid Reddit at all possible cost. I have no desire to use Reddit. As for it, Musa is selected by the church as a Christian representative for the city despite being a foreigner and Muslim because he knows about Christ. That, oof. That never would have happened. No. My God, okay. Anyways, this is the part where I said, Grummz retweeted this guy and says, "That's a lot of words just to agree that this time around Daniel Vavra was afraid of being canceled and losing his job, so he changed his public opinions or kept them quiet. He was very outspoken and on the side of anti-woke Gamergate 1 for the first time." I need to know from anybody who was actually around for Gamergate 1, I know the articles that came out about this game. I know the comments that were made by Daniel Vavra. I can find a couple tweets going back to like 2014 where he says basically, games journalists need to stop attacking gamers. Why are we attacking gamers? That's the only tweet that I could ever dig up. People have told me personally, oh no, Vavra was very vocal, very this, very that. I'm like, I can't find it. So if somebody else knows, then maybe they can actually like send it to me like on Twitter or Discord or something. I've never seen this very vocal public support of Gamergate that people say that Daniel Vavra did in Gamergate 1. I just don't see it. I don't know. Now you guys are gonna argue about this in the chat. Don't. It's not worth fighting about, guys. I don't care if people love it or hate it in the game. It's whatever. Give KCD2 the same historical accuracy as A Knight's Tale. Oh my God. although, not the worst movie as I recall.
I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
Yeah, for what it was, it was decent. It was funny. It had We Will Rock You in there, and it basically at that time, if you put We Will Rock You in a movie, it's going to be enjoyable. He hired sensitivity consultants. Okay, Grummz. No, he didn't. You don't have to like the guy. You don't have to agree with him. He did not hire sensitivity consultants based on what we have, and based on their advice, made the decision himself. What does that mean? Based on their advice, made the decision himself to self-censor his opinions. That's double speak. You can't.
What part of any of the translations said anything about censoring his opinions?
Maybe opinions on Facebook or whatever, but he's still vocal. Here's the thing. he said that part where he was afraid people would find his translations, but the guy still won't shut up about politics. So I don't understand. The interview itself almost doesn't make sense. I feel like maybe somebody said Vavra is like autistic or has a stutter or something. I don't know, but that
Most
statement
creative
alone.
People are.
There's so many contradictions between the posts that are being made about the interview itself, the translations with the Reddit post. Like I'm telling you, this has taken years off my life trying to get to the bottom of this. Yes, nobody forced him. He decided himself, which is even worse. But isn't that his job as the creative director to decide for himself what's the best for his game? And I'm not saying that he should not share his opinions, that he should back down and kowtow to people who are just trying to cancel him.
So now all of a sudden, because he made creative decisions and changes to the game himself, that makes the game worse. Like suddenly from however many months ago the game came out and was praised and made all kinds of sales, to now something changed about the game because we know for a fact that Daniel Vavra himself made those changes and the decisive decisions to make those changes. Is that what Grummz is trying to say here? Like
I think it's going on the premise that he was afraid that he'd get fired, so he basically censored himself. Which again, if that's true, that sucks. I don't like that. If it was from a game director standpoint where he decided to, well, like we were saying before, the idea that you don't go attacking your customers. If you want to sell a product, you don't go shitting all over a bunch of people. Again, the whole Michael Jordan approach that Republicans buy shoes too, so why would you attack half your customer base? You can find his involvement with Gamergate 1. The self-censor can't be about this. No, the self-censoring isn't about the Gamergate. Well, unless he deleted tweets about Gamergate 1. But again, when I searched Daniel Vavra's profile a long time ago, and I haven't gone digging since, the only tweet that popped up was like 1 or 2 tweets talking about games journalists, and then a handful of articles from places like Kotaku and The Verge and all that calling him a pro-Gamergate developer because of a few tweets. I don't know if there's more to it than that. That's all. Let's see. I don't see you refuting these, just offering a lot of reasons why he was scared and why he hates us now. Well, I don't think he hates me. I think he hates people who attacked him.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Grummz attacked him, JDA attacked him, Yorch attacked him, and Vavra clapped back at him.
Yeah.
So, whether you agree with the clapback or not, it was a response, not
Oh, so Mr. Griss, about Henry not being homosexual. So yes, that. All right, you're gonna make me.
I remember that.
You're gonna make me like drag all these old posts that we've covered before on videos. So there was one from a Reddit, I think it was from Reddit at the time, where it was a community manager that was answering the questions about that. And yes, they said he is straight. He's not a homosexual. He's not you. And yes, dude, I'm not defending Daniel Vavra. Yes, he 100% changed the tune from the first game, where the first game was you're not you, or you're playing Henry. Henry's not you. And now the second game, Daniel Vavra said Henry is you. Sure, I 100% agree. It's conflicting. Like I'm not even going to argue against that.
And if that's a reason why you don't want to play the game, there you go.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's your decision. Vote. Like I harp on this all the time. Vote with your wallet. That's it. I mean, I will never not have that stance.
And basically, and this is what the way I look at it, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If somebody wants to play Dragon Age of Velgard, I'm not going to hate them for it. I'm not going to attack them for it. I never have. I'll criticize the game. I'll mock the game, the people that made the game. I'll shit on the people that are trying to defend it and shill for it. But at the end of the day, if you want to play a game and enjoy it for yourself, for your own entertainment, I'm not going to tell you what to spend your money on.
Get your money's worth.
I'm not talking about that way. I'm saying that if he can change that, he can drop his support of Gamergate easily. Sure. Yes, 100%. That is also true. If people changed, if people can flip-flop over the course of a couple of years, maybe a few dollars did something for them. Like, I'm not going to say that money can't change people. Money can absolutely change people, and success can change people. There's no question there. And if you think that was a factor between the development of the first game and the second game, again, totally entitled to have that opinion. Every game from now on, Vavra deserves to get shit on. So here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I look at guys like David Jaffe. David Jaffe has made himself such a clown online. If he turned around tomorrow and made another God of War game, it would still sell. It would still
yeah.
probably make a ton of money.
More than likely.
So I don't. Is Daniel Vavra on the same level as David Jaffe as far as success? No. Obviously, God of War franchise is far superior to Kingdom Come Deliverance. But does that mean that he wouldn't be able to make another successful game? I assumed if it was still a good game, good quality and all that, he would probably still be able to sell and market a game effectively.
I mean, it's easy to say that people would be a lot more hesitant.
And I think that is deserved, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I bought 6 games for $30. Voting indie, yes, indie games, 100%.
Ooh, yeah.
You're talking to the right guy here.
I'm a big on an indie kick right now. It's just yes, absolutely. Except for Doom Dark Ages, I'm playing the hell out of that.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I'm not. Yeah, I don't even have to defend it. Like I've said, it's you know what? It's on Game Pass. Game Pass still currently, although I was shitting on Game Pass a couple months ago because I've had Game Pass for years now, and it was hitting a really dry spell. When South of Midnight came out, I'm like, look, this game, even if you don't think it's a horrible woke piece of garbage, it looks boring. It sounds boring. I've watched people play it. It just doesn't look interesting to me. That was like the only game on Game Pass that was even relevant besides Avowed. And I'm like, we're hitting a really bad dry spell for games on Game Pass. And then all of a sudden we had one banger after another coming out. I'm like, I don't have enough time in the next 3 weeks to play all the games on Game Pass that I wanted to play. So, only because God of War is a Sony game. Yes, the ponies will show up. That is true. You're not wrong about that. Let me see here. I had this one brought up for some reason.
I don't think it's just because it's a Sony game. It's a popular franchise. It's a good game.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a very popular game.
So
there's no denying it, regardless of what platform it's on.
So this guy Marshall tried to respond to Grummz, and Grummz basically says you still can't refute points 1 and 2, and you confirmed in the original post that this is a dev that hates us now. Although he did disprove that there were no sensitivity consultants. Again, point 2 is a lie. He hired historical advisors, some from the minorities featured in the game, like the nomadic gypsies, to portray them accurately and describe them in the codex, not sensitivity consultants. And again, you might disagree on the phrasing and all that. That's fine. But what I found really interesting was this guy here posted, why wouldn't he hate Grummz? He lied about the game, claiming it was banned in Saudi Arabia due to an unstoppable gay sex scene. Unskippable. He never even deleted the post. And yeah, sure enough, you jump over to here, and this tweet still exists. Kingdom Come Deliverance officially confirmed to be banned for unskippable gay scene. This was a rumor before, but is confirmed according to Saudi gaming outlets. Okay.
Even though it wasn't.
Never happened. Like I said, I was the first person to confirm that this game was banned on PlayStation. I gotta give myself a little bit of journalistic pat on the back here. I did the work after this entire rumor, talked to a guy who's a viewer of the channel in Saudi Arabia. He talked to me about it on PlayStation and said, yes, it's not on PlayStation. I made a PlayStation account, put it in Saudi Arabia. Sure enough, you couldn't buy the game. So I broke that story, and Demion even put it in his video where he quoted the guy talking to Corrosion when he got that whole thing wrong. But yeah, so again, this is fake. This is false. This never happened. The game was never banned on Steam. Never deleted this, and it was not because of an unskippable scene. So thanks, Hook. I got to pat myself on the back once in a while, you know? Not that I've had time to do any digging, writing, or anything else for a while. All right, so here's where we get to the fun, juicy, awesome parts of the stream. Yeah, Andy quoted me, but he quoted me right after he quoted that idiot that was making jokes to Corrosion, and Corrosion's like, you're the one that did this. And it's like, yeah, man, I was a single investor that made the game gay. Look at me, look at my influence. And it's like, I knew it. It's like, holy shit, man, come on.
Packer Girl unblocked me.
She unblocked you?
Yeah, she unblocked me. I'm so happy. I said something. I don't know what I said, but for a little while, Packer Girl had me blocked, but I was still seeing her tweets, and I love seeing her. She does fantastic content.
Oh yeah,
Twitter, and
she's insane. Don't get me wrong. She's completely insane.
But she's got me unblocked. I'm like, I would if I use something that she posted up, I would tag her, so give her the credit.
Oh, 100%. Like I said,
not sure what happened, but and I guess that got her.
I don't agree with a lot of her opinions. Like there is some stuff that I'm not even going to mention on stream that I very much do not agree with, but it's like, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine.
Where's the fun in agreeing with everything?
Exactly. Well, this has to do with the idea of pixels having age of consent. And I'm like, Yeah, it gets into that gross, squeamish territory I really don't want to talk about. But
I don't touch that.
yeah, not with a 10-foot pole.
Nope.
I don't go anywhere near there. Okay, so of course she has this post, gamers, even more proof that John Delmer Conte is a Twitter TOS violating anti-Semitic bigot. Now, first of all, I don't like the term anti-Semitic being thrown around. I think it's as overused as Nazis and woke and everything else. But there are genuinely people who are. So obviously it's okay to call a spade a spade. So you see here it says a Smash GT live stream that where he had Master TDS on it. I've been just bear with me for a second. I've been sitting back quietly. She sounds like a bickering woman. Oh, she gets into a lot of pissing matches online. I've been sitting back. I was actually just talking to Kata in DMs today. He messaged me. He's like, "Yo, are we sure Yorch and JDA aren't the same person like Kata?" They're not the same person. They're not the same person. Yes, she is Jewish, so of course she'll use the word. Yes, 100%. And
I had questions because it was just like, are they this like, is this an alt account?
If they were the same person, I don't know why he wouldn't use a better photo for Yorch, because Yorch is not the most attractive man on the planet by far. He's very much, he looks kind of like almost Eastern European, but very dweeby.
He looks like Jason Schreier.
Yeah, a little bit. Not a picture that I would use, right? If I was going to have an alt account. I mean, hell, he stole a picture of a beautiful Spanish woman for his alt account. It's like, why would you not pick a good-looking guy if you were going to be Yorch too?
No.
So, okay. You have that. And I'm sitting back in this group chat. Yellow Flash left at one point, but then he turned around and did an interview with Fandom Pulse for his comic, so I don't know what the hell is up with that. I don't know if they're on speaking terms, but Yellow Flash talks to Smash, Smash talks to Master of the TDS, Master of the TDS talks to JDA, Master of the TDS is in this group chat that I'm in with JDA, Yorch, a couple other accounts, Grummz, Very Dark, but Very Dark doesn't talk in there either. I think she got added, and now she's sitting there going, oh god, how do I leave? How do I get out? And I've been doing the same thing, like, how do I give this guy the middle finger once and for all, as poetically as possible? And Kata's like, well, you just leave. I'm like, no. All right, Burner, have a good night, buddy. I'm like, there's got to be a better way than that. I'm too long-winded. I like writing. Like, I'm going to have some great way of telling him off. And he's like, just leave. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm just sitting back the last few days. They're doing their victory lap, everything else. And then I see this pop off, right? Master TDS says, this was so wild, I was crying laughing when the guy said this, quote tweeted Smash JT's live channel. John Delarose says, see, all you do is simp for their lying. Oh yeah, Hodor, I've been, so months ago when I started writing for Fandom Pulse occasionally, because I had moved on to where I pay for a website I hardly ever use. And I was like telling John, I don't have time. I barely have time to write for my own little website. I have a full-time job. I'm now a business owner. It's like, I got all this shit to do, right? And he's like, oh, well, maybe we could just like, double up and you could just post your articles on Fandom Pulse too. I'm like, that I could do. I could probably do that. Maybe we can edit little pieces if we need to change anything, whatever. So I did that a couple times. That being said, that's how I got added to this group chat. It's kind of like, oh, a bunch of content creators. We can kind of like all boost each other up and everything. It's like a circle jerk, if you will. And it has turned into a massive circle jerk between him and Yorch up until today. I'm talking, even John Trent, who unfollowed me a while back. He didn't block me, but John Trent unfollowed me, has been doing all that shit. Oh, this is Hypnotic's position on this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, guys, whatever. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Yeah, I should have just done that. I was just going to call them all a bunch of the F words and leave, be like, peace. But again, here's the thing. No, I don't want to go down that road. Okay, so now today, JDA goes after Master of the TDS. I didn't see any of this. I didn't see any of this at the time. Okay, now Packer Girl's tagging Stop Anti-Semites, which I hate these accounts that are obsessed with anti-Semitism. I think it's overplayed, whatever. But again, it is interesting that he attacked Daniel Vavra so hard, especially when a lot of people were going after Daniel Vavra for being part Jewish, right? That was a very, like, I saw a lot of people who were attacking Daniel Vavra just because he was partly Jewish. So she says, the projecting, clout-chasing, lying bigot is not only pushing the narrative that Real Hypnotic and Smash GT are cancel pigs lying about DEI in games to try and attack Christian conservatives, but now he's claiming Master of the TDS is clout-chasing off his bigot ass. He did the same thing to me. I went on Smash JT's stream one time. I didn't know that he was going to clip the part where I talked about how I was kind of like done writing for Fandom Pulse and put it as like a thumbnail for a video. Thanks, Smash. Love you, buddy. And then The next day, JDA messages me, is like, you're just trying to get clout out of these people. It's like, no, it's called I had my videos done for the day. I was in Smash's chat, and he's like, hey, you want to come on? I'm like, sure. And so I jumped on. That's it. That was it. Yes, Master of the TDS is also Jewish, but he doesn't hide behind it. Master of the TDS, he has people calling him Nazi all day long, and he's like, you guys know I'm Jewish, right? He's got people calling him Nazi 24/7. It's the weirdest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he says he did the same thing to Master of the TDS that he did to me privately. All the stuff that he's posting here to Master of the TDS, I have in DMs from John Delarose to me, telling me I'm clout chasing, I'm aligning myself with grifters and lying SJWs, and I'm supporting all these people who are anti-Christian and anti-white, all this shit. Same exact attack, same exact. John is a textbook narcissist. So he says, you support cancel pigs for clout. If you did any of the above, it didn't show. You support for the pigs regularly, though, to show that you're with them publicly. Truth wins over time. Irony there. Your whole post is performative to try to show to Smash and Hypno that you're disassociating yourself with me for more clout. I'm not stupid. I know how the game works. It's just sad you play it. I play truth and values, and that's why my soul is saved. Oh, boy. No, this post was an inside joke between me and Smash. We dragged Hypnotic into it for fun against his will. That's all it was. Not sure where you're seeing what you're seeing, but if there was confusion, you could have just DM'd me. Funny how you skipped that and went straight for this. John Delrose says, you quote tweeted it. It was performative here. Just like the quote tweets of their content to try to get clout. It's okay. I know who's trustworthy and who's not by who doesn't equivocate to the cancel mob. You're just another one who did. Ironic.
Kind of funny that Master of the TDS puts up a post that has absolutely nothing to do with JDA, and John just has to insert himself into it to start slinging shit, for lack of a better term, because that's what I saw. Like my introduction to this little back and forth was Master of the TDS posting the Hypno chair, and
is that what did it? Is that what did it?
That's where I started. That's the first I saw it earlier today, and I went, "Holy crap! What the hell's going on?" That's where my popcorn post came from. It's like I'm never deleting this out. that was the catalyst for that one. You know, for Big E eating the popcorn on the side at the match. It's like, yeah, I was the catalyst.
Oh,
like, wow,
man,
like, that had nothing to do with John, and he just jumps right into it to start just trying to bash. And Master of the TDS was just like, what are you doing? Like, I haven't said anything. He hasn't gone after anybody. Like, where's this? Like, pretty much asking John, it's like, what the hell is this coming from?
Yeah,
is what I got from.
Well, okay, so I was waiting for this to happen because, again, I like I said, I went on Smash's stream one time. I rarely even I never repost his stuff. Maybe once in a while if he has a good video, I'll repost on Twitter or something. We'll interact, we'll talk on Twitter, right? That's about it. And that's the extent of it. But I noticed recently, I was thinking about it with all this other shit going on. I saw Master of the TDS a couple times quote tweeting the live stream and stuff with Smash GT. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. Because I knew exactly what mindset that JDA is in. He's in serious damage control mode because, like I said, I felt like so much of this was orchestrated with the KCD2 crap starting all over again because they've recently come off of a couple of massive L's. They had Split Fiction's woke. KCD2's woke, but, it's going to be a flop. And even though people, yes, that rightfully is a massive controversy, sure, the game was still successful. Yeah. Doom the Dark Ages.
Oh, God. One of the things I noticed right before I stopped going to Fandom Pulse, when
I stopped writing for it.
Yeah. Well, no, your Torch put out something for games to buy.
The non-binary list.
No, the binary list.
Oh, the binary. Oh, that was the follow-up.
That was the very first binary list post that I saw, and one of the games on there on the first one was Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes.
And I saw that and I went, wait a minute. This shouldn't be based on everything you say. This game should not be on your list. This game should be on your non-binary list because, first of all, I'm pretty sure
Type 1, Type 2.
Type 1 and Type 2. Yep. And John F. Trent should be vehemently against this game because it promotes cross-dressing. I mean, they took away gender restrictions for armor. So I'm like, wait a minute. So the whole thing with JDA and his little crash out going on right now, you mentioned narcissism.
Oh, yes.
And narcissists only succeed behind closed doors. That's the only way they can succeed. They have the manipulation, the control that they have. With social media, a narcissist cannot exist. They cannot succeed because everything they do, everything they say is out there for the public to see. No matter what they say, no matter what accusations they make, it's out there for the public to see over and over. They see the patterns, they see the posts and everything. And all you have to do is just sit back and wait, show what they say and everything. It's like, why are you giving them traction? It's like, no, it's for people to see, keeping it out in the open.
No,
Let someone
that's
talk long
100%
enough,
true.
they will reveal themselves. They will tell you the truth.
My mom, she has this personality type where she only attracts people who are completely sociopathic, narcissistic people. So a couple of bad relationships she had after she first got separated from my dad, divorced and all that years later, was that she kept attracting people who were completely narcissistic. And the craziest thing was they would say one thing, do another, gaslight, lie, all this other stuff. And because nobody else was around, they were able to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if it was posted on social media for the whole world to see, you can't deny that, right? You can't go back on that. Thomas Tompkins says, remember, Doom is owned by Microsoft DEI mandate. Yes, that will be a thing. Hey, Mr. Hardcore Mode, do you want to jump in here? Do you have any thoughts you want to share? I can send you a link if you like. I can get a second little invite going if you'd like. Just let me know. Yeah, so she says, by this biggest logic, anyone hanging out with him will become a bigoted, clout-chasing asshole like him. John says, iron sharpens iron. If you hang out with bad people, you go that direction, you're doing that. Well, who's John Della Rose been hanging out with? Holy shit. All right, so I haven't looked at this one yet. Let me see. She says, seriously, John Del Mercante can't be this retarded. Anti-Semitic bigots on the far left and the far right hate centrist, libertarian, bisexual, Jewish women like me. I don't love or hate that either way. It's a thing. We've personally experienced it. Is everyone who hates me a centrist, libertarian, bisexual, Jewish woman? I'm noticing a pattern. Yes, John, every heterosexual, non-gender confused male is a bisexual, libertarian, Jewish woman. Oh, man. I don't even know where to start with this guy. Hang on, I'm going to send Mr. Hardcore Mode a link real quick.
Unfortunately, I do need to be going. It's 1:45 right now.
Oh, yeah, dude, you can get going. That's fine.
So, I would love to stick around, but I have to wake up in like 5 hours.
Hey, I appreciate you for jumping on here. It's been a lot of fun.
No. It's been a lot of fun. Apologize for me cutting out for my brain malfunction there. I skipped. Anyway, thank you for having me. Thank you, chat, for hanging out. As always, y'all are great. Everybody's great. And I'm going to go I'm going to go pass out now. So.
You go do that. Get feeling better, all right?
Good night, everybody.
All right, I'm going to drop your link down below as well. So I'll make sure to get his link in the chat here.
I appreciate it.
If I can actually find it. Anyways, you go get some sleep.
Good night, y'all.
Later. What do you mean this panel streaming Colossus? No. See, I was thinking I could handle 3 people on the stream all at one time. That was about it. That was about the most I could do. But as far as panel streams go, like I told you, like Hypnotic said, hey man, you have an invite whenever you want to come on. I'm like, yeah. First problem, you stream too early. Second problem, I don't necessarily do well with 7 or 8 people all talking at the same time. I feel like I'm talking over people when I do that. Where the hell is his channel at? My God. Mr. Hardcore Mode, hang on one sec. I'll get you in here. My brain is malfunctioning. Kilted. That's who I just had on, man. What the hell? All right. Although I'm sure most of you guys are. If you are not subscribed to Kilted yet, let's get you on here. Go give him a follow. Dude is a barrel of monkeys, barrel of laughs, all the best stuff. I look forward to his uploads. Not that they're every single day. Usually it's like a couple days in between. I appreciate that dry humor. But yeah, no panel streaming Colossus here. It's about to be Quilted Cajun. Not so sure about that. No, we're not going to remove the collab. Actually, let's do that. Let's remove the collab cam. And then what we'll do is we'll get a new one going here. All right. Momentito, por favor. That's gonna be way too big. That's what she said. Oh, she never said that. My life sucks. All right, let me see here. I will have to adjust your camera size. Once I get you on here, dude, just give me 1 sec. All right, copy link, and we're done. I'm gonna shoot it to you. You want it on, I'm gonna send it to you on Twitter if you don't mind. Unless you have Discord brought up. I'd have to open Discord to do that, and I don't feel like doing that. You're blocked by Packer Girl?
Thank you very much,
I don't
sir.
follow.
For a gentleman
Maybe I
and a
do
scholar.
follow her. I don't know. Maybe I. Hey, but thanks for the follow or the subscribe. Appreciate it, guys. I'm tired too. Holy shit, my brain is not even functioning. All right, Mr. Hardcore. Hopefully you're okay with me sending it to you on Twitter. If I can figure out how to do that shit. Oh my god. I swear I've DM'd you on Twitter before. You were behind Oblivion? Ah, that's okay. That happens to me all the time. It's the weirdest thing. New message. Here we go. All right. I have not sent you a message on Twitter before, so come on. Really? Really? Get down there. Get out of the way. All right. I sent it to you on DMs on Twitter, Mr. Hardcore Mode, so if you get it, let me know. Otherwise, I can go ahead and open up Discord. I just don't have it open. And it gets to be kind of tedious and annoying to have to open it. Holenter, hang on a second. Let's get Mr. Hardcore Mode in here because he is a big Kingdom Come Deliverance guy, and he has actually had a, I'd say, fairly hefty involvement in this because he made a video talking to Rev Says Desu and Daniel Vavra when all this shit started happening because there was a little bit of a spat between the two of them. So let's get him in here and then we'll talk about it. Has he covered Razor's tweet yet? I have not. We're getting there. We are working our way to Razor Fist, which is getting insane because I've got mixed feelings on that one. I've got thoughts, we'll say. I definitely have some thoughts on that one. The hell, man? All right, we've got him here. We got the man himself. Can we hear him? I can't hear him. Hang on. We got you in duplicate. I don't know what's going on there. Why do we see two of them? Dude, I'm not hearing anything. Hang on a second. Hey, if you can type in the chat, do you hear me? Because I don't hear you at all. Trying for double diversity. God. You can hear me. I can't hear you, though. Damn. Try leaving and coming back in if you don't mind. Could have been a me thing, to be honest. More bullshit from out of context translations. Yeah, Riley, that seems to be the you know, pattern right now. Mistranslations, misinterpretations, disingenuous translations. I don't know what you want to call it, but basically doing anything you can to show like the worst case scenario. Are you there? Damn it! What is going on? All right. I'm gonna redo this. I'm gonna send you a new link. Let me start from scratch, man. Just bear with me. I should have just sent you the one that Kilted was using. Collab cam with guest. Yes. Add source. Yes. We do all that because it's supposed to work. We pay for the app because it's supposed to work. Does it work? No, it does not work. But it's supposed to. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Got a new link. All right. Look it back up again. Don't worry, guys. We'll get it together one of these days. To be fair, though, it's been a very, very, very long day. I had to get done at work early and go help coach my daughter's softball game, which she won in convincing fashion, but still, very, very, very long day. All right, I sent you a new link. Let's see what happens. Have I considered that maybe he's just mute? I would take that into consideration, except I've had him on the stream before. Professional streamers cannot be trusted. Very, very true. Always skeptical with foreign language interviews. I'm skeptical with people who run with things the moment that they have it. All right, we're going to try this again. Are you there? Oh my god, what is going on, dude? Make sure that your microphone is selected properly as like your audio source, because I don't think it's me. I feel like it's not me. I mean, there's always a chance it could be me, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's me. Yeah, I can't hear nothing. You're thinking of Nuri, who has you blocked. Yeah, Nuri gets pretty crazy. Actually, if we can ever talk to Mr. Hardcore Mode here, we can actually ask him about that, because he got into a little bit of a spat with her on Twitter not too long ago. I would say spat, but it wasn't anything major. Dude, I don't know, man. I have no idea what's going on. There's no sound coming through your mic. It's always the white man's fault. In this one situation, I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily agree. I don't know what the hell's going on. Literally, I had this working just fine, and now for some reason, something's not quite clicking here. Let me see. What else can I do? What else can I do? Let me disconnect and prevent this guest from rejoining. No, let's not do that. Hide on stream, show on stream. All right, try that again. Are you there? Not doing nothing. Oh, technical difficulties. Gotta love them. All right, dude. Well, I'm not gonna make you sit here all night. That sucks. I'm sorry. I just don't know why we're not having anything working here. Nuri can be pissy too. You know what's happening, racism. No, Streamlabs loves black people. It's not Streamlabs. If you're black, gay, trans, whatever, Streamlabs loves you. That's all they ever advertise. Hide, unhide. That's not going to fix anything. I don't know why there'd be any issues with audio, unless for some weird reason your microphone, like on your sound settings on your computer's not set up properly. My computer does it all the time. The other is fine, and she's fine with me. Most passive-aggressive way to avoid a collab I've ever seen. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. Unless you're saying me. To be fair, translation from Czech to English isn't perfect. Most Czech people don't use the proper language, and translators can't handle it. You know, honestly, there's a lot to say about that. Because there's a lot of times where there's words that don't even translate properly. I mean, dude, we can just, at some point, just throw our hands in the air and say, screw it. Yeah, alright. Alright, no worries, dude. It wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Alright, well, let's go ahead and finish up, get to the fun part, because this gets even more crazy in a second here. So apparently, this shit here got to where John Delarose was bringing up the Holocaust. And again, like I said, I don't want to touch this one with a 10-foot pole either. People have their own thoughts about all this stuff. But John Delarose says, man, Hypno took such a huge L this last day after going full leftist cancel pig on me and Fandom Pulse. He was exposed as a total hypocrite and simp for DEI. That's why everyone's switching to Fandom Pulse, who calls it right with real news. Okay? Yeah, I know it would put... I'll have to get him on maybe next week. We can talk about whatever's happening next week. I just had Kilted on that was working just fine. I sent him the same link, but for whatever reason, unless Streamlabs is trying to do like 3 different things at once, and that's why, I don't see anything on my end where I could have fixed it. Oh yeah, no, the man said Henry was a crusader. Yeah, like for real. Anyways, Mr. Hardcore Mode, I appreciate you trying to get in here. I would have loved to talk to you about some of this stuff, but Unfortunately, like either on your end or mine, something was not cooperating. So Master of the TDS says, I've kept quiet because I have friends on both sides. I thought I made clear over and over, but apparently not. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't care who's right or wrong. Stop dragging me into it. My stance could not be clearer, right? Oh, dude, I love his streams. Because you get it, like I had this today on Twitch. I was watching somebody playing that Ark Raiders game, which is an extraction shooter, which is actually going to be, from what I've seen, far better than Marathon. My internalized racism. If there's any racism, it's not going to stay internalized. I pretty much say what I'm thinking, so it's not going to stay that way. You saw one review that referred to Henry and KCD as joining a rebellion. What? Okay. So John Delarose responded to this and said, you kept quiet while these guys led a cancel mob and won't stop. If you like Google search or search on Twitter or search on YouTube, times that John Delarose has said he's been canceled, it's a lot, right? It says, let's see here. These are toxic, evil trolls who are pushing LGBTQ propaganda. I don't think so. I don't think most of us are. I think most of us are... Wait, clip what out of context? Don't clip anything out of context, please. Let's see. And trying to damage right-wing creators. It's kind of like keeping quiet when the Yahtzees are rounding up the Jews because you got a couple German friends, yeah? Okay, so apparently, John Delarose is the metaphorical Jew in this situation, and Master of the TDS, only ever clip out of context, yeah. Master of the TDS is not going to hide John Delarose from the bad people because he's friends with the bad people. Are you seeing the shit that he's saying? Like, I keep quiet. Same with the media over here. I've seen yesterday that Trump only had 39% support, and that it's less than Bush or Reagan. They'll spin anything. Yeah. Okay, so where's your... So this is where it gets good, guys. This is where it gets really funny. This is why I said, when all this stuff started blowing up yesterday, and I'm like, all right, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell these guys, fuck all of you. I'm done with all of you. I'm going to block all of you so none of you can even contact or interact with me. I'm just done. I have always done better pretty much just staying in my own lane, right? Where'd you get the ballpoint pen from? Honest to God, I've done so much better making my videos, interacting with people. Like Kilted is awesome, Mr. Hardcore Mode. These guys are awesome. They're not over here being like judgmental at me, preaching at me, or I'm preaching at them that they have to believe the same thing as me. There are genuinely cool people, but in general, I just kind of like to stay in my own lane, just kind of do my own thing, make my videos, share my thoughts, and that's kind of this, whatever. Getting into any sort of group like this one that JDA created on Twitter was the worst mistake I could ever make. Because once you're saddled with people who act like complete lunatics, or, writing for Fandom Pulse, worst mistake I ever made. It was the worst decision. It didn't benefit me at all. And instead, for a while, I was aligned. I've got people who have me blocked on Twitter who I've never interacted with. And they basically follow the same people I follow, and they basically share very rational takes. And I'm like, why am I blocked? And I go, oh, probably because of who I've associated with, because everyone knows that these guys are complete clowns. So Yorch decided, John's bestie, John's BFF, his right-hand man, his alt account, as some people say, comes back and says, John, sorry to come out saying this, but that isn't right. I didn't sign up for this, and I don't like where this is going. Go and ask Master of the TDS for an apology. No one contacted me to tell you this in public. If we're asking Smash for an apology about a game, do it for a fellow gamer. Well, first of all, these guys aren't gamers. They're not. They don't play games. They don't live stream games. They don't even know what's in the games that they're talking about. All they know is what drives YouTube algorithms, Twitter monetization, Twitter algorithms. That's it. Schumer shout on Trump's numbers, and then the journalist told him he has 70% approval rating himself, and then he said polls come and go. No way, Hodor. In the same breath he said that? That's nuts. That is insane. But that's politicians for you. And like I said, Trump has done plenty of shit that I criticize too. I'm like, there are days where I scratch my head and go, are you freaking kidding me with this shit? Like, really? Yeah, so this is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. Wait, here we go. Says, the grifting butt buddy dispute continues. Yorch is demanding his butt buddy apologize to master the TDS and let bygones be bygones with Smash and Hypnotic. Oh, I have not seen this. Oh my god, guys, I did not see this. 2 minutes apart. Holy crap. Gamers. Because again, everything starts with gamers. I know that over the past year, my account has become a voice for traditionalist conservative gamers. Can I just say, as a conservative, as somebody who was raised in a very religious household with a mother who hated video games, and I had to basically beg to play a video game for half an hour, maybe once every few days a week, if that, I never once have looked at video games as something that needs to be conservative. If I don't like the game, or I don't like the content, or don't like the messaging of the game itself, I don't play it. Sure, you can criticize agenda, politicization, ideology, moralism of any sort, and again, this wokeness that's becoming very prevalent in the video game industry, without needing all of your games to be Noah's Ark or Joseph and the rainbow coat and all this other stuff. It's insane. You're not in a club because you play video games. Hell yeah, Hodor. And I know that many of my takes have been controversial and even hilarious. Oh, he's in on the joke. He's in on the joke. He knows his takes have been hilarious. That's funny. Good for you for having some self-awareness, Yorch. Because apparently JDA has none. But we cannot have a divided gaming community. We may disagree, but we cannot be at war. I cannot side with John De La Rose asking Smash for an apology if he doesn't set the example first. John, call it off, let it go. Apologize to Master TDS, let bygones be bygones with Smash and Hypnotic. Set the example. We have so much to write about, so many cool games to talk about, so much to build. Do it for the gaming community. Holy freaking shit. Wow. Okay, apparently there's more. Oh my god. Wait, this seriously continued. Hey gamer, Empress, how's it going? X's brain cancer, 100%. Also, that if Kim do it, then they prepared to leave. Yeah, Hunter, I think we pretty much got that from the 3 or 4 different translations we looked at. Yes, we are getting to Razorfist, don't worry. And the Razorfist thing, here's the thing. This is a very, you guys gotta remember, this very weird, hey Hook, it gets interesting. It gets interesting. Yeah, Smash isn't really conservative. He voted for Trump, but that, again, a lot of liberals voted for Trump too. You need to watch the video on your own. Let's screw it. We're gonna watch the video now. I couldn't watch a video with guests because there's no audio for guests when they have them on. What the heck happened? All right, Empress, you want I'm gonna give you the TLDR version. Several people who are friendly with Smash JT were also friendly with John De La Rose, and John De La Rose is spurking out, attacking them because he can't let anybody be friends with anybody he doesn't like. And so he compared himself to a Jew being rounded up by Nazis in the Holocaust in context to speaking to an actual Jewish person. And now Yorch is calling him out, saying that he needs to, basically apologize. It's two retards fighting, okay? It's the meme. Hypnotic's kind of moderate conservative. I don't know enough about Hypnotic personally to know if he's conservative, moderate, liberal, or not, and I don't care. I truly don't care, okay? This idea that the only people who don't like a bunch of woke bullshit in their games, movies, and entertainment are hardcore conservative Christians is asinine. It's not true. All right. So he says, so as usual, I do message someone to try to talk. Everything TDS says is incorrect and performative. Hence why he dealt with it as a quote tweet to try to signal to Smash's audience he's with them. Holy shit. His response before blocking, so I couldn't respond, was for me to take the middle road. I'm sorry, I don't want the middle road of woke, Yorch. That's how we got in this mess, while saying that he's done everything he can to signal he's with Smash and Hypnotic and against our values. I come across as harsh, but I stuck to my values and I'm doing it right. Looking reasonable is not the objective. The man said This is like I'm a Jewish person in World War II, and you're siding with the Germans because they're friends of yours, and so you're going to turn me over to the Nazis. I mean, he literally said it. Wow. Wow. So Yorch replies and says, John, stop. This is going nowhere. Okay, so Empress, this would be funny. This would be funnier if Yorch and John were the same person and he's actually having a split personality argument with himself. That would be even funnier, but they're not the same person. This is going nowhere. Focus on your books. I've heard about John's books from people who follow the channel, people who we have on Discord. Apparently they're not good. Oh yeah, Hunter, no worries. Here's the thing. I didn't want to dwell too long on it because we had so many different translations that all kind of basically said the same thing. So I appreciate you offering, dude. I just wanted to say previously, because I don't speak Czech, obviously, I'm not over there. I was not about to like put my life on the line and say this is 100% obviously verifiably true, right? Disenfranchised leftist? Possibly. I already turned JD over to the Nazis. I'm not gonna touch that one either. Amazingly wonderful thing to wake up to. It gets better. It gets better. I was hoping that we could talk more about it before Kilted had to leave, but he needed an out, and I appreciate it because he really needed to get some sleep because he's sick. Yeah, Tekla, it's beautiful. You had an extraordinary audience. You have a great community. I had the chance to meet many of them. You're blessed with a beautiful family, and you profess a religion that teaches us to pray to God every day, saying, forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. You're an author, write and sell books, inspire and teach others to write, do it for gaming, leave a positive mark on gaming culture. Wah, wah, wah. You don't think it's real? Dude, it's real. It's real. I have a great community, true, and we fight evil. It's our duty. I will continue to fight the good fight. Okay. All right, John. Whatever you say, dude. Whatever you think the good fight is. Let's see. I think Hypnotic's the only one who wants to stop right now. Hypnotic doesn't care, man. No, Hypnotic, he's cool with it, and I'm not faulting him. I mean, the reason that he leans into the grift stuff is because it makes him money, and I'm not even saying that's wrong. It drives people who hate him crazy. I don't care, man. That's whatever. All right, so I've talked about anti-Semitism, the term. I hate the term. I hate the term where you call everyone a Nazi or woke or whatever. Any of this kind of shit, right? But this is very funny. Somebody put this up here and shows John De La Rose saying, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white gamers. The funny thing is John is Latino. He's not even technically white. He's like white adjacent or something, which is hilarious. And I personally, as a white person, can look at it and say, yeah, there's definitely a certain amount of white replacement, if you will, that goes on with, again, replacing white redheads with black people in media. And there's somebody shared on Twitter today a medieval game that has like a mixed race couple and their mixed race child. It's like a Sims cozy farm game. I'm like, okay, this is dog shit. Stop this. Please stop changing things from what actual history would have shown them to be. So there's truth to that. Yes, there's a certain extent that we can all look at it and say, unless you're being completely biased or an idiot, there's a certain element to that that's true, right? He acts white and lame. It's all about anti-Semitism. That shit is concrete. Hell yeah, Oblivion. Someone says the slogan in John De La Rose's post, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white gamers, is a direct adaptation of the 14 words by David Lane. The original 14 words, coined by Lane, is a white supremacist and member of the terrorist group The Order, are we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. Lane's slogan, as noted in the web search results, has been widely adopted by white nationalists and neo-Nazi groups, blah, blah, blah. John's white adjacent. I'm Asian. I'm considered white adjacent by crazy people in my state. I would say, no, see, Ghost, that's because they hate Asians. When I say that, I mean, John, he looks like a pudgy white guy that looks maybe mixed, you know? You can definitely tell that he's something that's beyond just generic white. Like, again, I'm like the Heinz ketchup 57 different ingredient, white. I've got like every type of white in me under the sun. I'm going to be played by a black girl someday because I'm a redhead. Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. Don't worry. You get famous enough, it'll happen. No, the whole thing about Asians being white adjacent is if we can shit on white people, we can shit on Asians because they're just like them. I don't think it's about being looking white. It's about the fact that they can attack both groups at the same time. Because the beauty of the white Aryan woman must never perish from this world. Okay, let me see here. How are the 14 words different from BLM slogan? Oh, they're not. It's all the same thing. It's all the same race-based bullshit. And yes, John tried to continue the whole Gamergate 3 thing. Kata says Gamergate 2 isn't a Christian or conservative movement. It was literally about gatekeeping the agendas of weirdos out of gaming. So why in the actual F would the opposite end of the spectrum think their agenda would fly? Utterly retarded. And John responds, that's why we have Gamergate 3, because you leftists had no principles or values. That's why I made my statement of values so you couldn't co-opt it with your pro-DEI slop. Oh yeah, Hodor, I've got a lot of white in me, man. A lot. My grandfather said that we had Cherokee Indian in us. I'm like, nah, dude. Nah, not happening. Like maybe like that much. Let me see here. They're for white people. You can't have groups if you're white. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me see here. Dash Attack, who is somebody who I've seen on people's streams, but I don't think I've ever interacted. They were talking about Cult Classic Cage here, and Dash says, I finally got Trent to block me. John Trent replied at one point to him and says, you forfeit all moral authority, blocked for witchery. I don't want to become a Harvard professor. Hell no. Not a chance in hell. Look, you're bringing down the chat, man. I don't want to spend too much time worried about like the whole Jewish WW2 thing. I'm commenting on what other people are talking about. Everyone's more Indian than Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, I want to know does anybody know what witchery is? What is witchery exactly? I didn't bother to go look up the original tweet before this. I just want to know what witchery is and how it's possible that this person who's a VTuber is guilty of witchery. In the same way that John Trent, I can dig up the tweet from today, accused Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 of having underage sodomy. He's still running with it. When I say I hope to God Daniel Vavra sues these people, and not because I love Daniel Vavra or want to, him to be richer than he already is, because clearly money has gone to his head. But I would just find it hilarious if JDA and Trent and all them got sued for that. Witchcraft? Maybe? Or the occupation of searching for water by witching? It'll get you burned on the stake. Yeah, if you look it up. Yep, there you go. There you go. Well, again, I've said this before. Something that I noticed about JDA and John Trent before I kind of like started disassociating with them, they think that they are actually like LARPing as Crusader knights, that they're going to retake the Holy Land. And it's insane. I mean, between the two of them, I don't know if they could lift a 5-pound weight. I'm not even kidding. I say that as somebody who's obviously tiny, but I can sure as hell lift my weight in the gym. Kabbalism, some paganism, occultism. When you weigh the same as a duck, yes. Oh God, great movie. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, fantastic movie. Yes, John Trent is delusional. All right, now we're getting to the even more fun part. This has gotten insane. You're to the Three Stooges. So we have now this. Here's the part where we get a little bit more chaotic. You guys will have to bear with me. We have to go back and connect all the dots. Okay. We had Gamergate back in October, where JDA, John Trent, Melanie Mack, Dread Roberts, Razorfist, they were all on the same page on this entire rhetoric that the first descendant was softcore pornography. Let's check. I see this guy is absolute lunatic who knows nothing. You know what, Edby? You're spot on, 100%. That was kind of like that allegiance between them. That's when Fandom Pulse started writing a lot of articles about Razorfist says this, Melanie Max says that. Oh, this person criticizes this. Like, okay, we all know who these YouTubers are. I'm still subscribed to Razorfist. I haven't watched a video of his in months. I've just been kind of so disgusted with the entire thing. I've just been kind of sitting back going, I don't know how to feel about this entire situation. Yeah, Melanie Mac go goon. So that being said, then if it came out, these old rumors about Razorfist with somebody who was underage, a lot of shit, a lot of stuff that has been kind of recirculated online. I know Fortenga covered some of it, Smash JT covered some of it. I think Kino Casino covered it. I briefly mentioned all this on a stream one time, and I'm like, yeah, this is just too gross. I really don't want to talk about it. It was kind of weird. So yes, allegedly, Razorfist had a underage girlfriend at one point. This is the rumor. This is the big thing that's been going around. Okay. So, Smash JT, who currently has a YouTube strike for, I believe, his video on Alana Pierce, because her knees were in the thumbnail and it looked like boobs or something, or some, I don't know, that's the claim, I don't know for sure. Razorfist like Styx is going the lolcow route. That's the way it feels. Guys, hang on a second. I'm going to get some Tums in a bottle of water. Give me a second. Unfortunately, my day got all screwed up and I had my tea too late, so right now my heartburn's kicking in. Give me 1 second. Right, so Hook, I don't know if that's the exact reason. That's what's been claimed. Well, Black Cat, I would argue all of us have things in our history we're not proud of. All of us, to some extent, have a digital footprint. That's not the point. I would argue some things are far worse than others. Oh, Gamer is fantastic. You missed like the first half of the stream. There's so much. Kiwi Farm spending how much you're willing to go down that rabbit hole. Well, here's the thing, Ghost. We're going to get into it because there's a video that Razorfist put out on Twitter. I think he's got it private on YouTube. But it is interesting. I don't know if I buy everything in it. She gives off gypsy vibes. Who are we talking about? Oh, you're still on the whole, you're on the whole witch thing. All right. So, there is a tweet from Razorfist telling Smash, you still have time to remove your defamatory video, Smash. Oh, he didn't even call him Smash. He just calls him JT. Oof. He should have just called him Jeff Tarzia. Just saw I mentioned of a private video on Smash's stream right now. Well, it's on Twitter. It's if Smash, and I say this as somebody I've been friendly with Smash, you know. If I would just tread carefully, because if the video's true, it's pretty, this could go down pretty badly for a lot of people. And again, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video. My wife, her car battery died. I had to go bail her out because she had the kids at practice. So I had to go. It's been a crazy busy evening. Didn't have nearly as much time as I wanted. Okay, so he's like, this is what happens when YouTube bends the knee once, immediately opens the floodgates to everyone trying to take you down. So again, the context is Smash JT has a current YouTube strike over that Alana Pierce video for whatever reason. Then you got Razorfist saying, you still have time to remove your defamatory video. Not soon enough to prevent me taking your entire career, mind you. This was set in motion when you decided to repeat easily disproven lies from a drama stream, but time to save your channel from a libel claim. All right. Moving on. Razorfist says, every day you continue to have a career, JT, was because I allowed it. You had your chance to avoid disaster. You could have reached out, confirmed that you had reported lies. Now karma comes to collect. And if you thought Pro Jared had receipts, oh, sweetie. Very strange to call another man sweetie. I'm sorry for what's about to happen to you. Smash says, for me it was a Tuesday. John Del Rose says, libeling Christians and conservatives for leftist clout seems like it. This man, here's the thing. If I block John Del Rose, he's going to be like up in my business 24/7. But I'm so tired of seeing his shit. Even when I mute him, I'll go through like different people's threads and he's the first thing that pops up and it says it's somebody that's muted, right? He didn't report, PPP reported. Oh, okay. Lawsuit boasting is a tell of some kinds. Who's PPP? What am I missing there? He wants nothing from PPP. Let me see here. So Jay Viper said Razorfist threatening to pull Mercante. No real surprise there. These Puritans act exactly the same way as the woke journalists. Similar lies, shitty backstories, narcissism, then threats. Okay. That takes us to this video here, which we're going to watch. Ashton from the Kino Casino. See, I don't watch Kino Casino, so I don't know anything about either of the hosts. Okay, PPP or PTP is the fat guy from Kino. Okay, I've seen the clips. I just don't watch, right? Dude, but muted is not enough because muted still shows them on every freaking thing you go to look at. So, if you guys will indulge me for about 18 minutes and 59 seconds, I think this is worth watching. I definitely do. I don't know that it's all true. In fact, let's switch screens. Sorry for my shilling. Gotta sell some video games. Worski. I knew the name Worski. The thing was, I didn't realize that he was one of the guys on Kino Casino. Message Worski immediately, ask him to game with me? No. We could do 1.25 speed. Yeah, let's do that. Although Razorfist already speaks pretty damn fast. Yeah, see, Hook, I've watched the videos of him. Well, okay. Let's just play this because I'm sure a lot of us have already seen a lot of that stuff and the allegations and the video and the audio recordings and stuff. So here is the response video, okay?
I might ever address these fatuous accusations.
Oh, hang on a second. This is too quiet. This is too quiet. Let's get that cranked up.
Nonsense, particularly promulgated by the Perma Online Brigade, I tend to hold with a quote from the great John Milton. The best apology for false accusers is silence, sufferance, and honest deeds set against dishonest words. But I also knew that while the accusations were libelous and shockingly simple to disprove, they were also entirely too lurid for some talent-bereft drama hump and half-wits not to make the mistake of attaching their channels, reputations, and indeed their entire careers to, after which I would drop my reams upon reams of receipts and end their careers overnight. So I hope you fellas enjoyed the 2-week victory lap I allowed you all to have, because now karma comes to collect. And if you thought Pro Jared had receipts to prove his innocence, buckle up, bitch. Fortunately for me, I don't even really need all of that exculpatory proof to disprove the most serious of these claims, because as many of my fans have already helpfully pointed out, the available timeline already disproves them. If I were to allege that Elon Musk robbed a jewelry store on June 13th at 6 o'clock p.m., seems to me step one in establishing or annihilating that allegation would be to...
His shirt says Candlemass. I'm not sure what brand that is, if it's a known brand or what. No idea what that is. John Bolton, I hope not the Warhawk. Hiding his eyes is never a good sign, yeah. Oh, Hook, it's mixed in, but you know Razorfist, he has to do a lot of vocalizing to get, like, the little nuggets here and there that might actually prove his case.
To check the surveillance footage on June 13th at 6 o'clock on the dot. So, as internet sleuths have already deduced, due to the age and birth date of the accuser, in order for this relationship to have occurred when they say it did, I would have had to be dating this person in, or throughout, 2015.
The available timeline proves you and your fans wrong. Are you talking to me or his fans? Because Thomas, I'm not making claims one or the other. I don't know. Like I said, when the allegations came out, I was very torn on them. I hope they're not true. This person suffers from severe main character syndrome and thinks he's the next Jim Carrey. I don't even know if he... Razorfist like Jim Carrey? I don't know, man. Candlemass is a Swedish metal band. Oh, hang on. Yo, say no more. I don't care about Razorfist's own personal whatever, but Swedish metal. Swedish metal is my jam. I got to add this to my list of music. Check it out tomorrow. Candlemass. All right. I'll leave that on Spotify. I'll listen to it later. Oh, his fans. Okay. No worry, Thomas. I just wanted to clarify, because like I'm just like, I don't know what to think about a lot of this stuff. I started watching this in the car earlier, like when I was headed over to go help my wife with the battery in her car, and it's like, I just don't know.
Any later than this, and the entire timeline collapses. Fortunately for me, 2015 was also significant in that it's the same year I began streaming in earnest. The name of that series is Razorfist Arcade, and the entire thing is publicly available in a single handy playlist on my channel's front page and has been since 2015. In fact, if you click on only the third video on that playlist, a live stream of the game Thief 4 that originally aired on March 18th, 2015, you can disprove these allegations within about 30 seconds. Because at that point in the video, a woman's voice can be heard.
Do you ever plan on playing or reviewing the original Dark Souls?
Yeah, I've heard the original Dark Souls is a lot better than 2. Hold on, there is actually... My lady just hurt herself. There is actually a way to get...
The identity of the voice? My actual girlfriend at the time. A 26-year-old white woman with a high soprano voice as contrasted with the lower Latina voice of the accuser. She was my earliest co-host on Razorfist Arcade. She interacted fairly and warmly with my audience, hence why they affectionately named her Ladyfist, which is why I find it so unctuous that drama-humping douchebags found it necessary to write her out of existence.
Yeah, Thomas, that's the thing, is he actually addresses that later, and he claims that it's... Well, I can't remember if he says in the video that it's fake or not. It says on a website full of fake satire stuff, right? He was living with a said chick. Yeah, so he was living first with the 26-year-old gal, the gal that you hear on the stream. Okay, so a big part of his argument is that you hear the two different sounds of their voices and stuff. Then he goes into like audio recording of this other gal being psychotic.
In order to forward a false narrative about a relationship I was not in at this time. One of the worst mistakes a defamation merchant can make when inventing a lie about someone is to include a third party in the lie who can gainsay your story. In this case, my current co-host and longtime editor, Taryn Gell, was there the entire time and can confirm I was with Ladyfist not only in 2015, but for several years thereafter. We started streaming in 2015.
Yeah.
You became co-host shortly after that. So there's streams from like February and March where she's the co-host. After you became...
So before we play the rest of this video, I just thinking about it. You guys know that Styx, Hexenhammer, and Razorfist are like, I would say, cordially friends or whatnot. I don't know that they've ever met in real life, but people talk a lot because they look so similar with the long hair and all that kind of shit, right? Last year, Styx, when Nick Ricato was going through all of his shit, and God, he looks terrible. Styx Hexenhammer got arrested, and then it came out that he was like, he had like a harem or some shit like that. Like he had multiple girlfriends in different states or something, or different countries. And then all this stuff with Razorfist happens. I'm like, my God, I have such a freaking boring life. I have such a boring life, it's not even funny. But also your co-hosts and employees are not great references. Thank you, Quiltpig. That's my first thing is like, you're paying this guy. You're paying this guy. You know? You just think Styx was normal and the dude went cuckoo. He's never been normal. He's never been normal.
Co-host, do you remember her still being in the picture?
Absolutely. You would often see her just... This would be back in your old place, that she'd be in the back chilling on the bed. She'd go in and out or whatever.
Right.
But she was still there.
And she would chime in sometimes on streams.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember,
yeah.
Right?
Well,
So I didn't watch Smash JT's video talking about the Razorfist stuff. He was covering Kino Casino on that one, not the topic itself. So he was just like reacting to the video. That's interesting. Why go after Smash JT then and not Kino Casino? I mean, maybe he will. Maybe there'll be a libel or defamation suit or something. You don't know a lot about Styx, you don't need to. The dude is... like, if you just watch Styx for political takes, he's pretty good. Like, he's got a pretty good grasp on geopolitics, I would say. Reasonably decent take. But as far as his personal life go, just don't even... Yeah.
But you would
don't go there.
Invite her.
Right. So would you say that she was still in the picture for like only a month or two after that, or would you say that was like for a year?
Oh yeah, the Vic Mignogna suit.
Definitely
yeah,
a year or more. She was there for a while.
Right.
Ladyfist was a Caucasian female, very, very pale woman.
Even after Taryn Gell settled into the co-host role, Ladyfist remained a fixture of arcade live streams in the years that followed, albeit only in the background. In fact, when I recorded a recreation of the Shadow radio drama entitled The Immortal Murderer, cast in the role of Margot Lane, as the credits will confirm, and your own ears will as well, was none other than Ladyfist.
No, take it easy, Commissioner. It's easy for you to sit there smirking, Cranston.
He's not smirking, Commissioner.
My apologies, Miss Lane. I ought to have said leering.
That episode was uploaded on Halloween, October 31st, 2016. Over a year after every imbecilic e-drama dick holster falsely alleges I was dating the accuser, and before anyone argues, well, you're clearly keeping the relationship a secret from your public girlfriend. Okay, that almost makes sense, until you remember that I wasn't keeping Lady Fist at all.
Never trust a man that's got the B-wing back here instead of the A-wing. Sure, the B-wing had more firepower, but the A-wing was definitely, like, faster. It had less shields. I think the B-wing actually had, like, some sort of, like, missiles or torpedoes, if not mistaken. And it had that thing where you can rotate the cockpit, like the ship around the cockpit, which is cool. But I still like I think the A-wing is an underrated Star Wars space, like a starfighter. Razor Fist Empress. He's talking about Smash JT covering allegations against him that were brought up on Kino Casino. And who was he wanting to kick out of the house because they wanted a job? Pause for nerd effect. Come on! Yeah, B-wings are cool, but A-wing was better. B-wings with gunship, fair, okay. Y-wing, I think, got a lot of shit because it was so slow. But if you're going for pure, like, power, I mean, Y-wing's a bomber, so it makes sense. Inquisition level shit, don't trust anyone with the B-wing. Come on, A-wing was there where it's at.
Private from the accused, so why, in every defamatory screenshot, in every autism-infused e-drama video in existence, in the long litany of defamatory and false allegations, is not once it claimed that I publicly dated another woman while I was supposed to be with the accuser on Razorfist Arcane live streams that thousands of people watched? Seems to me that would be item number 1 on the list of douchey things I'd done if even one of these accusations were accurate. There goes the timeline, there goes the accusations along with it, all after 30 seconds of research on a public playlist.
I only watched Razor one time on anything beyond like regular one-time speed, and I was like, I thought I was gonna have a seizure because things were going so fast. A-wings were not Jedi starfighters. No. Why wouldn't you go for a Death Star if you're just going for power? I'm going for speed, not power. That's what I said. A-wings are mosquitoes to be swatted. Ouch, that hurts. That's just mean. That's mean-spirited. Okay, I don't deserve that.
30 seconds of research that Gash JT and the drama parasites on the Cringe Casino couldn't be bothered to do before obliterating the last waning rivulets of their remaining credibility by committing libel and ending their own careers. And all before I've dropped a single private receipt, of which I have many, motherfucker. But I know what you're saying. I don't believe Terrangel. After all, he's Razor's buddy. He's biased. Maybe he hallucinates Latinas into white chicks in his spare time. Maybe he's misremembering her sitting by his side for over 3 damn years. Why, without seeing her, in order to know she isn't the accuser, what we need is a vocal analysis, and I agree. So first, let's hear Lady Fist again.
There is no way you cried when Eris died.
I so did. I even have the soundtrack on my iPod, and whenever that song plays, I tear up. I have flashbacks.
Ah, but where's the accuser? All we've heard is one side. Well, fortunately for you, I have just the thing, and I...
What, the A-wing dies too fast? You gotta get good, man. You like Star Fury more than the X-Wing, but I'm more of a Viper guy. See, I liked the TIE Interceptors, but wasn't there like a beefier version of the Interceptor? Like, I mean, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter was more of an Interceptor, wasn't it? And it actually had shields. Yeah, somebody said basically that he's making a play for the public that was Hook. He's not doing shit because he's guilty. Maybe. Whoa, which one was the Z-Wing? I can't remember. Alibi seems a bit sketchy. We have no idea about the personal dynamics of your relationships. Yeah, exactly.
I think it'll help clear up a lot more than just a vocal analysis, such as why these libelous accusations emerged at all, and who, if anyone, was actually emotionally and physically abused in that relationship.
Do you think that I cannot hurt you without the power of social media?
What?
Because I promise you I can. I have a bunch of shit that'll hurt you.
Okay, nice. Another threat. Very nice.
I'm just telling you the cold hard facts. I am aware of a bunch of shit that'll hurt your feelings. So what the fuck do I need social media for if I want to hurt your feelings and make you hurt?
So that's... Wow. So we're up to threat number 3. I guess 6.
That's
If,
not a threat.
4, 5 if we count the I will slit your throat or shoot you.
Yeah, because you were talking to me condescending and I don't like that.
Okay. So regardless of if this person was ever at any point in their relationship underage or not, this woman is crazy. Okay. Clearly this woman is unhinged. There's no question there. Oh yeah, you were speaking condescendingly to me, so I'm gonna threaten to hurt you or murder you. It's like, oh my god. She seemed like a crazy Latina ex. I mean, yeah, I just listen to that right there. It's like, okay, that's you were condescending, so I'm gonna slit your throat. Like, whoa, that escalated quickly.
I was not trying to condescend. I was trying to get off the phone and calm things down.
Part you didn't understand. Like, I want you to deactivate your Twitter. You're not allowed to stream this week, and that's gonna be the deal. Otherwise,
What?
you can hang up and we'll never talk again, okay?
What?
I'm making you a deal.
Took a turn, didn't it? What you've just heard was an admission to and justification of a murder threat. One that my ex, as a gun owner, actually possessed the means to carry out, might I add. On one occasion, she threatened to murder my wheelchair-bound...
Get your shit together or you're gonna get your dick cut. Oh my god. I'll end you and everyone you love. You did everything wrong. You need more interesting, engaging in good conversation. This chick was crazy. If these are real, this chick was nuts. Okay, Thomas, I can accept that, sure, but two things can still be true. Okay, two things can be true simultaneously.
Father, my former roommate, who you all knew as Mormagil, and she even threatened to shoot and kill the dog we picked out together, Cicero. Now that might seem extreme, unless of course you've heard names like Jodi Arias or Amber Heard, because I learned after ending the relationship following an actual murder attempt that my ex had been diagnosed with BPD.
You're more than worth it, hubby. I want to be with you and have this work. I just need you to understand BPD, so please do tease video research. LOL, wow, I sounded like an Indian guy for a sec. So please do research video. Huh. But again, here's the thing. I'm just going to be, again, objective in this situation. We don't know who the other person is on the other side of this. This could literally be like a text that he chopped up and put together. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying this is a moving image, very quickly zooming in of a screenshot of a supposed text from somebody without any verification whatsoever. Now, if he has the actual text recording and he can prove that this came from her number, then sure, it's a provable receipt. He's got a receipt that this woman's a nut job. I'm betting Razor only dates women with BPD. She's pretty nuts. It sounds like she's crazy. Spice Latina feels so good, then the aftermath, yeah.
And HPD, and if that sounds at all familiar, it's because it's the same cocktail of mental illnesses that Amber Heard has.
Amber
Heard. I
Turd.
studied the condition at length, chiefly with a book called Stop Walking on Eggshells, the introduction for which says, in so many words, run! And
I wonder if my mom has ever read that book. Based on her dating history, like I said, all of the guys that she was ever with were completely narcissistic, like losers. Doesn't sound hinged when he's yelling at her about her job either. They're both nuts. Point is, was he grooming? Yes, exactly. That's the part we got to get to. That's the part we have to know.
And after she attempted to make good on her threat to murder me, having already threatened to invent a panoply of lies about me to embarrass me in public, as you just heard her admit...
Hang on, which one was that? You'll never be respected by me. That flew out the window, and I'll gladly slit your throat if you ever are off guard around me. I do not love you, and I never did. I cheated on you 4 times. Manliest thing about you. I don't know what it says. This woman is nuts. He's claiming she wrote this. If that's false, then he's committing defamation. True. That is a very good point, Bill Preston. But at the same time, she'd also have to pursue him in court. So that's the question is, does he believe that this woman's even got the capacity, either mentally or financially, to come after him? Smash likes to crack jokes about unsubstantiated rumors, though. Yeah, unfortunately, people do that, and they say allegedly, thinking that that'll kind of like keep them out of trouble. When I say alleged, it's because I want to be very clear that I'm not making the claim. It'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to allegedly end your life. No, that's clearly you're saying it to get away with it, right? I cheated on you 4 times while he was with the other girl. I mean, according to his timeline, this would be after the original chick, Lady Fist, 26-year-old.
On her threat to murder me, having already threatened to invent a panoply of lies about me to embarrass me in public, as you just heard her admit to over a phone call, I finally resolved to do exactly that. But even after finally extricating myself from this emotionally and physically abusive relationship, the threats of blackmail intensified and finally escalated to action. If you watch the Johnny Depp trial, you have some faint notion of what I dealt with for over a year. False accusations, which the accuser actually...
I dare you to make any move on social media. Every tweet you make, every post on Instagram, every live stream, every video on Facebook status will be met with a story about you and screenshots to add, and they aren't good stories about the things you've done. He says, "Why are you threatening me when I didn't do anything?" Although that almost, let me put my detective hat on for a minute. That almost seems, no, I guess it doesn't look photoshopped. It's just really shitty quality at the bottom of this video here.
Bragged about inventing and spreading privately leaked recordings absent context of any kind, where she suddenly puts on a little Bo Peep voice and pretends she didn't initiate an argument entirely, often with preceding physical abuse. It's Johnny Depp and Amber Heard all over again, and a baffling number of leering retards took Amber Heard's side without once engaging in the aforementioned 30 seconds of research required to disprove them, all because they were felted by a fucking tweet! I've seen screenshots of the Twitter hack that are now being bandied about as evidence of this. Problem being,
yeah, cropping out, here's the thing. Even if it's something that you know is going to make you look bad, if you think that you've got evidence against somebody else that can unequivocally prove your case, prove your point, if you take a little marker, a little Sharpie, and start blacking out things, it's like if you go to the bank, or if you're trying to get like some sort of like financial like loan or something, and you're supposed to take some statements with you. They want you to, prove you've got this many months worth of money in your account or bank statements or whatever. And you start like blacking out certain purchases or certain transactions. When they tell you not to black anything out, it's going to make you look guilty. Like you're definitely better off just shutting up about it. Yeah, probably. It makes you look guilty, like you're trying to hide something.
actually refuted those allegations herself in a
And these move even on one, like the regular speed, even at like the regular speed. Somebody asked, "Did you hack Reserfist account and close all his shit?" No, I don't have his passwords. I don't even know who this person is asking this question. Like, there's no context provided. Obviously, this is blank. I thought it was you. It was. He was kind of confused. Non-Razor wouldn't say something like that to me. That's effing pathetic. What the hell is going on? I don't know. However, I don't have a Twitter, so this shit's still up. So you can tell these people that's BS.
In other screenshots, which I posted as proof. So,
What the F? Obviously, this is blank. And we've already seen that. Razor, you're literally sharing the same tweet. Dude, this is not his best work on this video.
either she was lying on the first occasion, or she was lying on the second. In any case, a proven and inveterate liar. But the blackmail did exist. And here again, on the subject of the entire underage narrative being nothing but a coordinated blackmail and smear campaign, indeed, for an admission of the fact that all of my girlfriends, including her, were very much of age, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to believe her.
Why is he covering up the date and time? That's a very interesting question. That is... Because again, his entire premise was, sure, you can question when I started dating her. You can question if I started dating her when I was with my previous girlfriend. That, of course, would then conflict with the timeline about like how old was she when you guys first started dating. It does open up like a lot of possibilities that there's conflicting, like he's telling a conflicting story. Why crop out the date and time? That just looks terrible. I don't understand it. Unless this was not date and time, was he cropping out the number? I don't know, let's just hit play. I'm sure that we'll see more of these.
Her.
I haven't leaked anything. I haven't mentioned anything. I haven't messaged anyone. I haven't,
The word for that is blackmail. When you threaten to do it. And that was my entire point to begin with. This crap about me being a predator and a pedophile. How freaking dare you? My girlfriends have been my age or older.
I know.
But here's the hilarious part. It's all irrelevant. Not only did we prove that the entire timeline's impossible without a flux capacitor and plutonium, not only did the abuser in question admit to death.
So, I have such a hard time with this recording. He's talking to her and says all this stuff, and she just responds with, "I know." Okay, yeah, if you just look at it at a cursory glance, he says, "How dare you accusing me of X, Y, and Z?" And she says, "I know." That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. She must have been a piece of ass. Well, she was Latina. Come on. Proved. Yeah, he's made claims. The number, date, and time is under the text. He has everything he needs to make a defamation lawsuit. That's the thing. It's like, so from the way I look at it, I would love if there was nobody in this godforsaken world that was dating, sleeping with, or marrying people who weren't at least 18 or older, preferably. But I can at least hope that in this certain situation, he can prove that he didn't do it, and then he can move on with his life, and people can stop making a big deal about it. Because otherwise, if he did, what's your defense, Must be a Blade Runner reference.
Threats and blackmail. Not only did they admit they were of age while publicly lying that they were not, but By the grace of God, I had only just begun to return to my faith at the beginning of this relationship. And so, after multiple live-in girlfriends and physical relationships, I finally felt the conviction to actually wait until marriage. I have no defense. I'm simply a sinner. Oh, I intended to marry her, at least the person she was pretending to be, through a BPD technique known as mirroring, wherein they ask a lot of questions and they seem really curious and interested in your life, when in actuality they're assembling a composite personality of all of your likes and dislikes, which they then project back at you like some kind of mirror mask. A BPD abuser has no personality or empathy of their own, and they exploit yours. The victim of said manipulation is left to think they won the jackpot, at least initially.
He blacked out the name and number? Okay. It'd be defamation against her, PPP if PPP falsified, but he's going after JT, who played the video. He doesn't have a case on JT. That means it's proxy boxing. That means public relations. Yeah. No, I don't think he's going to actually go after Smash JT just for covering it. But I don't know. I didn't watch JT's video. I don't know what he said specifically about it. Wouldn't it be a better idea to present partial evidence, but as much as you think you can prior to a case in which you are likely to be constrained by the court and people will? Here's the thing. If I was ever going to like start a lawsuit, use extant material to cover it, I don't know. If I was going to, like, from a content creator standpoint, you know, the influencer, which is like a worst term ever invented. If I was going to be looking at a situation going, all right, I don't like what this person said about me in his video, I'm going to make a video covering it, but maybe I should just wait and just file my suit and put all this stuff in the legal folder and be like, okay, I'm going to have all this at the ready to prove my case and to prove that he defamed me. I wouldn't go and make a response video about it. Like, I just feel like that would be asking for more trouble than it's worth. I just don't. If you're not going to actually sue somebody, or if you're going to sue somebody, why make a response video? He goes after Smash, so he'd have to go after several YouTubers that were already covering this years ago. Yeah, this is I mean, like I said, Fratanga recently brought this back up. This is an old thing that's been around apparently for a while that I just wasn't aware of.
In my case, I thought I had a traditional Christian wife willing to wait until marriage, and then, a month in, the mask started to slip and she became openly abusive, both emotionally and physically. And so, for all the allegations of grooming and gooning, for all the dimwits and dipshits typing the words, "he slept with a child" in their thumbnails, not only was she of age by her own admission, I never proposed marriage, and thus, we never slept together. But once again, I do not want you to take my word for it. Instead,
they also go
I want
viral.
you to do exactly what you've already been doing. I want you to take her word for it without any proof or research of your own of any kind.
If anybody were to come up to ask me and say, "Hey, how's Razor? How's living with Razor?" "Oh, he's a lying piece of shit."
That's not true.
"Are you still a virgin?" "Yeah, I'm still a virgin." "Oh, but I thought you lived with your boyfriend." "Yep, still a virgin."
So I'm still confused about the age thing. Nothing in this video so far, and we only have 6 minutes left, and then I'm going to go to bed. Nothing in this video has done anything to prove that she wasn't the age that the claims had her out to be. Like, he hasn't proven anything. Frittata. Oh, guys, I have to take a little bit of credit for the frittata thing. Because Sungrand was pretending to not know who Fratanga was, and then when I mentioned it to Fratanga or to Sungrand in his video, you know, the only person I've seen after going after you was Fratanga, and to be fair, you know, X, Y, and Z. He's like, "Oh, I don't know this frittata person." And it's like, damn it, dude. Oh my god. I'm not taking his word or her word for all of it. I know this. He paid these people yesterday. Well, I don't need to see a driver's license, but here's the thing. If he's going to make the claims that it's fake and want to sue people for defamation, certainly her driver's license will have to be, taken into consideration. I think maintaining an income gives him a better stance for any court issues that follows.
Weirdest groomer ever! A relationship that requires a time-traveling DeLorean to actually occur, culminating in no sex whatsoever because we were both waiting until marriage. Saucy stuff, folks! I can see why you'd want to torpedo your entire YouTube career, attaching your credibility to it. But what about the most salacious allegation of all? The ones Blandy Worski and the Diabetosaurus next to him were shaking their talentless tits about for 20 minutes at a stretch, blissfully unaware it was the prologue to the end of their YouTube career. A decade-old, long-discredited screenshot from a porn website that no longer exists, featuring incorrect doxing information that's grainier than the Zapruder footage. By all means, Let's dive into that. Because while you world-smashing web sleuths were spending all the 5 seconds repeating lies on an e-drama website whose own page includes a disclaimer that it is, quote, an online humor and satire source, and thus that you shouldn't take anything said therein even the slightest bit seriously, I did some digging of my own, and I didn't have to dig far. You see, the allegation is these videos are not only of me, but the proof is that I uploaded them myself. Now, as an author, I would say I have a fairly distinct authorial voice.
Well, he might be on drugs, but no, this is part of it's because I've got the speed turned up a little bit to get through the video faster. But he always talks like that. Drugs or no drugs, I don't know. Gotta look at the elbows. Why look at the elbows?
Marked by bizarre Victorian nomenclature interspersed with the odd peppering of profanity, so in doing some research, I discovered that the video in question was actually uploaded more than once by the same original user on that porn website. And in examining the description of said video, I would imagine my unique...
This segment's gonna get the stream demonetized. I'm already aware of it. The elbow rings, is that a way to tell age? Oh god, I don't even want to know about that.
Grammatical style would be impossible to camouflage, so let's dig in. The first video, entitled Dinky Face / Carrot Head, self-deprecating sort that I am, goes on to say, quote, I am that coward, capital C, who have nothing to do just to sit at my cam and review stupid games, capital G. This is the video of my jerking off, capitalized all. Oh, but now here's a curious cultural artifact for any actual Americans out there, because what follows is a phone number that's not only incorrect, but written not in the American, but the international phone number format, meaning with a plus sign, followed by a country code of 1 for America, followed by an unspaced, unhyphenated phone number thereafter, as we in the hinterland of Arizona are so inclined to do. Of course, I remember this video even better than that, because back in April of 2011, the self-same barely literate troll uploaded this false video to YouTube and linked it to my fans. See, back then, YouTube listed each and every one of your subscribers on your page publicly, so said troll was able to scroll down the list and DM it to them at whim. Some of you rageaholics may still remember this. And so in April of 2011, I shut my channel down only briefly in order to protect my own fans from being spammed by this spurg, as there was no other way to hide my public subscribers.
This is a lot. I don't know how I feel about all this shit. I'm also, part of it's because of the speed of the video, he's talking so fast. Is he saying that this was nearly 20 years ago, whereas most people barely have the same phone number for 5 years? Yeah, I mean, look, 2025 now, that's, if he said 2011, he shut down his channel. Shit, you're talking, yeah, freaking 14 years ago at this point. Germany's plus 49. You miss old YouTube? I mean, old YouTube is very different from the new YouTube. But unfortunately, it's kind of the same in certain ways. You have a country code? Yeah, we got a country code. America is +1.
If you're wondering, by the way, why my channel was founded in May of 2009, but none of my videos date to before April of 2011, mystery solved. I had to re-upload them all. Mind you, the video was promptly removed.
I don't think that's a mystery. My YouTube channel was started 6 years ago, but I didn't start uploading videos till 2 years ago. That's not even, I don't know why he'd say that. That's a big question mark. Just because you have a, like, if you have a Google account, if you have a Gmail and you log into YouTube, you've created your YouTube account, as I understand it. I'm pretty sure that your channel is created whenever you link your Gmail or Google account to YouTube. I could be wrong. I'm confused more than Sungran shenanigans. Oh boy, yeah, this is a lot.
Removed, but the account was still up long enough that I did nab a screenshot of some of the reactions at the time. And it's in combing over the account in question that we see more sterling examples of my writing style. Quote, I'm Daniel Razor Butt. Some know me as Donkey Face, Carrot Head, Dumb Shit, and ... But I prefer Jerkaholic. Yeah, I do believe you cracked the case of my illicit gay porn career, Columbo. You should roll with this narrative without doing any research whatsoever because you're cranky about a tweet. In fact, you should attach the final remaining micrograms of credibility you still possess on your person to push in this piss-poor nonsense and accomplish precisely nothing in the process but utterly embarrassing yourself being caught, once again, lying about strangers on the internet. But we expect laziness and libel from these cum-burping bitches. No one whatsoever surprised when Glandy Worski peers out from the coke cloud, flanked by an anonymous autistic asteroid who, if chins were brains, would rule the fucking world. Pauses momentarily to comb an e-drama website that openly admits to lying its dick off from dawn to damn dusk, all to tank the remaining relevance of the
This is a lot of words. All I want to know is he denying that he's the one in the video? That's what I want to know, because there's a lot of words, but in there I'm struggling to hear, did he ever deny that it was him in the video? And again, look, I grew up in the early days of the internet and stuff when everybody had a webcam and were left alone in front of their computer for too long. I understand there's going to be shit floating around of millions of people for years on the internet that they want to forget about. I get it. I'm not even holding that against him. But is he saying that he didn't upload it, but that it's still him? Is he denying that it's him, or is he just dancing around that part of it? You're muting the stream, not gonna lie. You know, man, I don't blame you. Luckily, we are at the end of the video. 59 seconds left. Always got to put some kind of joke on something. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. So you don't think it was him? He scripts all of them. No, he doesn't do any of these from memory. If they're not scripted, he does them in multiple takes, I'm pretty sure. See, that's what I'm thinking of. He implied he wasn't in the video, but I don't think he explicitly said it. Dude, Nick Ricada, man, I swear to God, the people who are still defending him at this point, it's like, whatever. And I'm not even one of these people that wants to see him rot in jail. I'm just shaking my head at the entire situation. Like, the entire thing is just such a shit show. It's not even funny.
Diabito Casino. And as for Gash JT, the fart huffing hack who honestly confuses himself with an independent journalist, such that he's still spurging about stolen scoops, that if his character in this instance is any indication, he likely stole from someone else. Also, he could slap white text on a wildly original thumbnail and express socially acceptable opinions on the 8 entire members of his imbecilic audience. Ah, well, what you lack in talent, you make up for in chromosomes. Look at the bright side, bud. I've ended bigger careers of infinitely more talented individuals in a 5-minute rant. You only took me 30 seconds. Walk it off, asshole. I hear they're hiring at IKEA. And the receipts you've heard today are only the tip of the shiceberg. I'm holding the real goodies back, just in case a crazy person decides to be the latest Me Too accuser to lose in court. But publicly, outside of a courtroom, this is the first and last word I have said about this easily debunked bullshit. On with the rants.
So, that's the thing. Rikita told me I could do that, bish. Nah, man, the whole Nick Ricada thing was such a disappointment. It was such a bummer. And not even like I was holding him up like he had to be some like pillar of like virtue and shit, you know? He wish he ended careers. Yeah. Yeah, Empress, that was 19 minutes long. 19 minutes long. Smash should just apologize and end it. I mean, that's fair. I think that's a fair take. At the end of the day, he was commenting on a video on claims that are alleged that we don't necessarily know are true or not. Like I said, people have said that there's the Kiwi Farm stuff that is pretty well documented. But again, if he's got enough receipts that prove that, again, some of this shit was false, who even knows at this point? Frittata said Razorfist is deciding to go after Smash now while YouTube has him on a strike. Dude's taking advantage to get his revenge. And somebody says, honestly, I live around this area between me, you, and the internet. He literally sounds like every single casual tweaker in Arizona. Ever wonder why he wears shades? It ain't a gimmick. That's funny. That's actually pretty interesting. He writes a graphic novel now and he has main character syndrome. Actually, I picked up Ghost of the Badlands because George Alexopoulos did the art. And it wasn't bad. It was actually not bad. The only thing was, I hate that it ties into his more like religious arc that he's on right now. Because again, that kind of ties into the whole Melanie Mac thing and Gamergate. And it's like, I was cool with it just being like a cool Western pro-religious story. I thought that element of it was really awesome. But now I'm looking at it going, it kind of feels like how John De La Rose and John Trent and even Yorch to some extent, it's all like a LARP at this point. It feels like an actual, like a bit that they're all doing. Like it's purely like it's performative. You know, John wanted to claim that that Master of the TDS was quote tweeting him because it was performative. He was, you know, showing that he was on the side of Smash JT and all of his SJW buddies. It's like, I kind of feel like all of this religious stuff is all performative for a lot of these people too. Oh, George Alexopoulos has terrible opinions. He has like some of the other than when he shits on Matt Walsh, because Matt Walsh is such a freaking boomer. I think Matt Walsh is like my age. Supposedly JDA is writing for him. Are we talking about writing for Razor Fist? Why would he be writing for Razor Fist? He writes articles fluffing up Razor Fist, but I don't. Razor wrote the Ghost of the Badlands, and George Alexopoulos did the artwork. Do I think Melanie Mac's Christian? Yeah. I don't think much about her at all. I muted her account so I wouldn't have to see her. Hook, you think none of them are? See, here's the thing. I made this this decision a long time ago, not to try to judge the sincerity or the level of depth of anybody else's religious conviction. However, there are definitely people who come across as purely performative, and in that situation, it's really hard to believe in their authenticity. He's helping him write something. Holy shit. All right, so guys, this is where we get to the best part of the stream. This is where we get to the best part. Not that it matters at all, but here's the best part. Do you think she is always has butter around? I think the butter thing is also an act. I don't think most Christians are, to be fair. Christians are human. Humans are hypocrites. If you can't separate the two, that's a you problem. And I've said this for a long time about people who go, I don't want to go to church. I don't like Christians. They're all hypocritical. Humans are hypocritical by nature. We're designed to be, well, whether it's by design or by accident, we are flawed, narcissistic, evil. Like, if you leave people alone, they are never going to do like the best thing possible. They're left up to our own devices. We will always do like the most self-serving, vile shit, right? Hey, Leon. Melanie looking at Razorfist JDA and JFT tonight. One of you will betray me. Oh, let me see. But at the very least, if you're a lapsed, non-practicing Christian, you're not preaching and punching your chest about how Christian you are. I wouldn't say that I'm a... I don't know how the best way to define what I am, Remy. If anything, I would say it's somebody who was raised to believe a certain thing, and whether or not I've ever changed from that is irrelevant. I more am just at a place in life where I'm just kind of burned out on people being fake, you know? And so it's not that I'm like anti going to church. Eventually we're going to find a church around here that I want to take the kids to, and they still read their Bibles and do like, they still have like, you know, lessons with homeschool that are, you know, about Bible stories and scripture and all that. It's just coffee addict. Dude, I had my cup of black tea too late, so I didn't get my herbal tea tonight. I'm not happy. Yeah, Oblivion, honestly, the funny thing is there's a lot of people who think that they're great people because they go to church, but they do nothing for the people around them. And there's a lot of people who donate money, but then don't personally do anything at all. And then there's people who never go to church who do everything for people around them, but they're not the church people, you know, so... Don't trust anything organized, to be honest. Well, then, in Mr. Grace, then you go into the whole, who wrote the Bible, who interpreted it, which translation, when did Catholicism start versus the Protestant Reformation versus Orthodox, and I'm like, God, there are so many people who spend so many hours of their lives online. I'll see these arguments all the time. The Catholics calling the Protestants heretics, the Orthodox telling the Catholics that they're fake Christians, and it's like, you know, at the end of the day... I wasn't there. I didn't write the damn book. I don't know. I don't know which one's the correct translation and which one's not. Where two or more are gathered in my name? Yeah, see, Hook, that's exactly it, man. Christians and normal Christians with common sense. They get asked, have you ever lied before one time ago? I said yes. They asked because of a private Christian school I go to a long while back. Everyone's lied. That's the thing. Everybody has... Look... I get more religious the older I get. I think that's normal, Woodpit. But a question is like, religious how, you know? I don't think a congregation of individuals who I'll never truly know is a fair gauge of my faith. That's fair also, man. I get it. So, hey, Leon, I don't know how much of this you've been here for, but at the end of all of it, the funniest part of all of this stuff, the fluffing of Razor Fist, the defense of Melanie Mac, the pro-Goonergate, anti-Goonergate take from Grummz, from JDA and Yorch. We had Grummz. We had Master the TDS. We had Yellow Flash. Veridark is still there. JDA, Yorch, John Trent, me, and a couple other YouTubers in this group chat. Today, both Master the TDS and Grummz both left the chat. Yellow Flash left a couple days ago. Veridark hasn't posted in the group chat in weeks. And I'm over here just sitting like, John, just remove me, man. Remove me. Like, I'm not leaving. I'm not commenting. Like, I'm waiting for you to delete the group chat or just take me out of it. But Grummz leaving today, I'm like, I saw that a couple hours ago. I'm like, holy shit. So now Grummz is separating himself from John Delarose, which is absolutely hilarious. So unfortunately, I didn't hear much of it, but I wanted to give the watch time. Oh, no, man. I'm not worried about watch time. I appreciate you. If you stopped by for 2 minutes and said, I don't have time, but, you know, have a good night, I'd just appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, so the entire thing, the entire Gamergate 3 thing where they were like, oh, we're going to retake Gamergate, you know, make it Gamergate 3 now. KCD2 is when all this shit started to crumble, 100%. Flew too close to the sun. Yeah. The shooting bench. Oh, bench press and shooting bench. Hell yeah. Hey, Hook, you got to take me out to the shooting bench. I've got an arsenal here that I've never fired, man. Doing God's work if you're a decent, honest person, not if you go to church to show off for other people. Yeah. Most of the churches in my area fly pride flags. Yeah. All right, guys. I am going to hit the hay. Before I do, I want to ask you guys. I want to inquire upon all of you fantastic, awesome, wonderful people and ask your opinion on something, okay? Should I just quietly leave the group chat, unfollow John Delarose, leave him on mute, and just not engage with any of them? Should I tell them all to go F themselves? Maybe be more poetic or, you know, long-winded than that? Should I just not do anything at all and just sit in this group chat and watch the rest of the shit show happen? Because personally, like, I'm beyond over seeing all these gamers posts and everything else, but I just don't know the best way to finally just tell all of them, you know, have a nice life, go do your thing. Do I get any content? Not really. I just see their little conversations where they're all like jerking each other off is about it. Just leave it? Why do I have any of them followed in the first place? Well, I muted all of them. I never followed Yorch. John Trent unfollowed me and I unfollowed him shortly after when I discovered it. And then JDA is the one that I've been like waiting on to figure out how to tell him to go fuck himself. Just exit and reference that exact general position. I say now stay in the chat just in case they try and pull something. Have to know what's happening. Well, I mean, now that Grummz left and Yorch and John Delarose are fighting, I don't know that there's any reason to even bother, like, hanging. No one's going to talk anymore in this chat. There's just nothing that's going to happen anymore. If Yorch and John Delarose really are, like going at it like this over the way JDA is acting over, you know, Master of the TDS and all that, trying to act like he's a freaking Jew in the Holocaust. Oh, Grummz left. Grummz, he noped out a couple hours ago. Yeah, he freaking left the room. John Delarose shared his post where he's like, I called out Master of the TDS and told him that this isn't a cancel mob and blah, blah, blah. I called him out because he went full woke. Draw some cute capybaras and send them to them. No, so fight me financially. Here's the thing. I've said it before. The reason this group chat even exists is when I was still on good speaking terms with any of these people, and I was still once in a while writing articles for Fandom Pulse. John Delarose, he messaged me and he's like, do you want to join our little group we have where we try to share each other's articles and try to like help each other get our YouTube videos seen? And I'm like, sure, why the hell not? Right? Whatever. Sounds fine. I get in there and I start seeing that he's got some heavy hitters like Vera Dark and Yellow Flash, and then Grummz comes in out of nowhere. Mind you, I was never a big fan of Grummz, and over the last year, I've kind of had my eyes open to that entire situation. Word of advice, but don't be a Jew in a Holocaust, yeah. And so he brought in all these other people because, again, it's all about clout. It's all about, for John, visibility, monetization, engagement, which is fair. It's fair. We all want our YouTube videos to do well. But this is that insidious like Twitter engagement where it's all about like getting the most outrage that you possibly can, even if the thing is not true, which is what we saw the last 6 months or so. And so once all the shit hit the fan with KCD2 and he starts calling everything out, I was like, well, if I leave, I put a target on my back. If I stay, I mute the chat, obviously, but then I still once in a while get notifications and it pops up and curiosity kills the cat. I click on it and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are insane. Yeah, it's a circle of promotion. You liked Firefall. Good for you. You and like 5 other people. Grummz is going to flame out soon too. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the entire Gamergate 2 thing is going to flame out soon. The anti-woke stuff is going to flame out soon. Would have less of a problem with his analogy if he compared himself to Captain America in the MCU or another fictional story. I don't know, man. I don't like Grummz or the bad actors. I like Airbag T attracted either. Yeah. You'd stay financially? I don't know. I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to see in the morning if anything else. If nobody's posted anything and nobody else has left, I'm just going to quietly leave in the morning and say, whatever, I'm out. Yes, that's why he started Gamergate 3. And you know, here's the thing. Here's the funniest thing. John would tell you that people like me have betrayed the movement and that we're backstabbers and this and that. The man doesn't even know at the moment that I've even had this stream talking about him, despite the fact that it's on Twitter, he's on, you know, terminally, and that it's on YouTube, which I don't even know if he still follows me or not. And yet he couldn't care less that I'm streaming, having this conversation, because he doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. You know, he only sees things on Twitter. And because he sees people repost things like when Master TDS reposted Smash GT Live, that pissed him off. Give it a week and see if it fizzles out. Maybe I'll do that. That is true, Oblivion. I will just ignore them. I will just block them and say, fuck it, I don't care. Whatever. Alright, guys. This has been very, very interesting. Again, I gotta apologize to Mr. Hardcore Mode. I don't know why we couldn't get him on the stream with audio earlier. Are you coming up here, kitty cat? Psst, psst. Hey. You are on my subwoofer. What are you doing? Hang on, I'm gonna drag the cat up here to say goodnight. Oh, this is the little one. This is the princess. This is my little pest. She likes to come up and get on my desk while I'm streaming. You look so mad. Why are you angry? Oh, she looks so pissed off. You gonna get on the desk or no? No? Back to the subwoofer? Okay, she's back on the subwoofer now. Alright, guys, I'll probably just give it the night to sleep on it, and then if anybody else leaves, I'm just gonna nope out. What happened to her face? That's her face, man. They're British short hairs. They have almost like the Persian kind of face, a little more smash face. I would believe he would only see things from a monetary standpoint. Yeah, for sure. Gonna adjust the subwoofer. Yeah, gonna crank the bass up. No, I got the audio control over here on this speaker, so we're good. Dental issues? I mean, they say... Oh, God. Oh, Quill Pig, you almost got me, man. All right, guys. I'm going to hit the hay. Thanks for all for hanging out. Again, thank you to Kilted Cajun for joining. Thank you, Mr. Hardcore Mode, for trying to join, even though we couldn't get it to work out. Back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. Get some videos out. And then Friday night, we will do a game stream, because we actually play video games on this channel. Despite people who claim to be gamers who don't play video games. Oh, thanks, Ghost. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, guys, it's been fun, demented, twisted, sick, psychotic, all the above. Lots of mental illness online, let me tell you. A lot of sick mofos online. Holy crap. Makes me feel like a really boring person. Not even gonna lie, but hey, I can't complain about being boring. Boring keeps you young, healthy, and sane. What can I say? Playing games? Oh, come on, man. He lies. We play games here. Even if we don't do, you know, even if we kind of suck at them, because playing distracted is not easy. Cat's prettier than Bella Ramsey, at least. My cat is beautiful. Shut up, man. That's not, no. Don't even be careful. Don't, no. You guys, join Discord. I have cat pictures on my Discord, okay? My cats are gorgeous. Loving family? Yeah, sometimes. Oh, sometimes when they're all getting along. But yes, in general. Do a gaming stream with JT. I don't want to kick his ass, though. I've seen Smash stream games from time to time. I think even blindfolded I could probably take him. But, we'll see. It's okay to have a boring, stable life? Yeah, 100%. I said that a long time ago. It's okay to be boring when it comes to, like, your drama and medical health and everything else. So. Oh, yeah. My cats are awesome, dude.